Chapter 357. It was true that Will could not understand Feng Zhao, but he could draw out the contradictory complexity of Feng Zhao's body. Even if he could not draw it all, he could at least draw a portion of it. Being able to draw it was already considered a success. To draw out all the complexity required more time to hone his drawing skills. Thus, this drawing was actually just an unfinished piece of work for Will. It was equivalent to a draft, and he did not place much importance on it. As a short-term goal, Will had a rough idea of how to draw Feng Zhao. At least Feng Zhao was still within his scope of understanding. With his current ability, he could still draw a portion of it, but curly hair was beyond his scope of understanding. Other people might not be able to sense that complex feeling. Actually, Will usually just felt that the dog was a little special. But when he actually picked up the brush and started to draw, he realized that he could not even lift the brush. The more he thought about it, the more confused his mind became. This was unlike any other difficulty he had faced before. No one had taught him how to deal with such a conundrum, and he had never studied it before. After some thought, he decided to start with the dog's owner. This was what his cousin, who owned a dog, had told him. He recalled what his cousin had said before. A dog's personality had something to do with its owner. That was why he had drawn Feng Zhao. Now he continued to study how to draw a dog, but he still could not start. After some thought, Will decided to borrow Feng Zhao's dog for a while. He might be able to gain more insights after close contact. Of course, Will knew that he did not know how to raise a dog. In the past, he had never thought of raising a dog. He had felt that it was too troublesome, and he had even been bitten by a dog. He had never felt close to dogs since he was young. Now that he had made his decision, Will made a rare call home. The person who answered was Will's father. Mr. Will Sr. Will's new work had attracted the attention of a few masters in the industry. Will Sr. had naturally heard about it, and was rather proud. He had just been showing off to a few old friends, and when he received the call from his son, he still had a radiant smile on his face. "What's up? Did you run into a problem?" Will Sr.'s tone was rare. "I have a problem," Will said. Will Sr. was immediately interested. "Let's hear it." "I want to raise a dog." Will's words were like a bucket of cold water. Will Sr. almost dropped the teacup in his hand. Besides astonishment, he was even more shocked. What he had heard was simply unbelievable. "You're going to use your drawing hand to shovel shit." Will's tone was calm. "Actually, I don't need to do it myself. I've checked. There are intelligent robots doing it now. There are also many related equipment that can reduce the burden on people. Things like cleaning up pet feces don't need me to do it myself." "Do you remember being bitten by a dog?" Old Will reminded him. "I didn't lose my memory. The law doesn't say that you can't keep a dog if you've been bitten by a dog." Will's voice was still calm, as if he was talking about something normal. "Tell me the truth. Why do you want a dog?" Will asked. "I'm looking for inspiration. I can't draw a dog, so I'll try it up close. You've been in the advanced course for so long, and you don't even know how to draw a dog." Old Will scolded. Even though he said that, Will Sr. knew his son well. He knew that Will had other reasons. Perhaps it was just like the new painting that Will had painted. He had a new breakthrough and realization in his painting skills. And when he said that he was looking for inspiration, he really did need to use the dog issue to solve his problems. "How long are you going to keep it?" asked Old Will. "I don't know. It's best if I can keep it until I can draw it." Will's tone carried a rare hint of distress. He also felt bad if he couldn't draw it. If he could draw it, why would he keep a dog? It was too much trouble. But when he could draw it, Will himself wasn't sure. Since he no longer objected to Will keeping a dog, Will Sr. asked worriedly, "What kind of dog do you want? Don't keep a big dog. A big dog can kill when it bites." "A small dog. That's good." Will Sr. heaved a sigh of relief. "Bring it over for me to take a look. I haven't borrowed it yet." "Who are you borrowing it from?" "Feng Zhao." When the advanced course had announced the name list for this year's class, Will Sr. had done some research on Feng Zhao. Plus, he was Will's neighbor, and he had done some research on Feng Zhao online. He knew that Feng Zhao had an especially expensive dog. Will Sr. pondered for a few seconds. "I'll send an extra helper over. You'll also need a nutritionist." "For a dog?" "For you." Will Senior was so angry he wanted to smash the phone. For the sake of drawing Fang Zhao, Will had secluded himself for too long. It had been too mentally draining. He was in a suboptimal state and needed someone to take care of him. After the father and son discussed the matter of keeping a dog, Will followed his father's advice and gave a call to a relative who had a dog for advice. Then he was recommended to an online streamer. The streamer broadcast himself stroking a dog and explained to newbies some things they needed to know before raising a dog. When Will followed the online link, the streamer was stroking the dog while sharing his thoughts on raising a dog with his online audience. I like smart dogs, but I don't like shrewd dogs. What's the difference? A smart dog will do whatever you say. A shrewd dog will do whatever you say. A smart dog is the little baby type. A shrewd dog is the little demon type. Will thought about the dog next door. Based on his current understanding, curly hair was probably the little baby type the streamer mentioned. In order to prepare for raising a dog, Will even specially took out a notebook and jotted down the points to take note of. The first note was frowny face curly hair's attribute, little baby type. In the video the streamer continued, most dogs are afraid of heights. Will made a note in his notebook not to bring the dog to high places when walking it in the future. Dogs like to be stroked, but for dogs whose temperament is unknown, don't touch their buttocks and tails. No stroking. Definitely not stroking. Will forcefully wrote this down. He still remembered his childhood experience of being bitten by a dog. Dogs like to bite. Put away the pen. And like to tear things. Put away the important things, especially the painting. As for the rest, so be it. There's an old saying from the old era. A dog can't change its spots. Even the toilet door had to be closed. While Will was working on raising a dog, a piece of news attracted heated discussion from netizens from all over the continent. A Huang art teacher had put up Will's painting on the school's display platform and opened up the auction channel. The moment the painting was put up online, it attracted the attention of many in the industry. The number of bidders also increased, and within a day, the bidding price for the painting shot up to 30 million. Paintings that could be put up on display by Huang art were either master-level works or works of extremely talented students. There were quite a few that went up to 30 million. In the past, even if it attracted attention, it was mostly people from the art world, collectors, or investors who participated in the bidding. Other people wouldn't pay attention to these things and weren't interested. This time, there were two reasons why netizens from all over the continent were reposting the news in such a short time. First, the style of the painting was strange. Second, and most importantly, the person in the painting was Fang Zhao. My neighbor, whose neighbor looks like this. The facial features are about to pop out of the drawing paper. It will scare little kids. Ha 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 ha, who is your neighbor, Will? Being drawn like this is too tragic. According to my aunt at Huang art, Will's neighbor is Fang Zhao. That can't be right. According to reliable sources, it really is Fang Zhao. The fuck? How the fuck does this look like Fang Zhao? Just this painting and 30 million? My niece in primary school drew something like this. Not that I'm bragging, but I can do 10 of these paintings a day. Why don't you try drawing one? The legendary abstract style? Doesn't old Will draw ultra-realistic paintings? I remember he once said that he wanted to groom Will in the direction of ultra-realism. Even if Will doesn't draw ultra-realistic paintings, he isn't abstract either. This change is a little too sudden. Nowadays, artists follow the money. You guys don't like it, but others do. Ultra-realistic paintings were popular in old Will's era, but now abstract paintings are trending at the higher end. That's why Will made this change. Look, a painting has gone over 30 million in less than a day. The price will continue to rise. I don't really understand the aesthetics of you artists. A layman like me can't understand abstract paintings. It's boring. I still prefer ultra-realistic paintings. Who drew Fang Zhao last time? I thought it was pretty good. I'm a first-year art student. I just drew a sketch of Fang Zhao. Picture. You can't even pass this in our class. Your painting is all skin and no bones. It's empty. Other than looking like it, there's nothing else. Some onlookers were puzzled. What else is required for a painting other than a likeness? Of course it's something deeper, something on the ideological level. There's a reason why Will's painting is so expensive. The more you study it, the more dizzy you get. I'm dizzy too. This painting is worth 30 million. I feel dizzy and my heart is in turmoil. I want to draw one myself and put it up for auction. Even if it's a good painting, the price is still on the high side. Hype. It's definitely hype. Some people complained, and others came out to defend themselves. It really isn't. My uncle also participated in the bidding. He's not an artist and doesn't have a deep understanding of paintings. He's a businessman. He said he thinks this painting has a high commercial value. That's right. The artist is a rising star in the art world. The person in the painting is also a genius artist, Feng Zhao. Feng Zhao is a hot topic in the headlines. But the Feng Zhao in Will's painting is really scary. He's like an alien. Ha 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 ha, that's enough. I've been puzzling myself for a long time. No wonder Feng Zhao is so awesome. He's an alien. Does Will know that you're drawing Feng Zhao like this? Feng Alien Zhao is online. The direction of the online discussion changed again. From the value of the painting to whether it was a publicity stunt, and now to Feng Zhao's new nickname. Amidst the commotion, no one took the matter seriously. It was purely for fun. However, the topic quickly cooled down. The recent news from the film festival and the new status of celebrities from every continent quickly attracted the attention of a large number of netizens. Chapter 358. Nanfeng was the one who opened the door. Nanfeng's prejudices faded a fair bit at the sight of this genius artist, who had been in the limelight recently. Nanfeng smiled warmly at Will's pale, solemn face after his seclusion. This was a great master worth 30 million for a painting. How could he be like a normal person? Hello, Master Will. Nanfeng invited Will in. He wanted to ask about the painting, but he knew his position as Will's assistant. He knew Will didn't like to talk, so he held his tongue. Will's gaze swept the room after he entered. He frowned in disappointment when he didn't see curly hair. But Nanfeng was used to Will's disgruntled demeanor. After pouring some tea, he scurried off to the kitchen to prepare his boss's dinner. He had to put on a good show. In a few days, Feng Zhao would be bringing him to the film festival. There would be a red carpet. Feng Zhao was surprised by Will's sudden visit. He knew Will wanted to paint his portrait. Will had told him long ago, and he had agreed to it. Feng Zhao had learned from Nanfeng that the painting had been sold for 30 million on Huang Art's premium display platform. Feng Zhao hadn't been following the news online lately. He had to write his thesis and prepare for some advanced studies. He still had to attend the film festival. Before that, Feng Zhao had to take care of business here. That way it would be easier for him to take time off. Feng Zhao had also declined all recent interviews related to the Hull virus. He wanted everyone to focus on researchers and medical personnel. He was just a starter. There was no need to magnify the issue. After Feng Zhao sat down on the sofa, Curly Hair walked out of his room yawning. He sprawled by Feng Zhao's feet and didn't even look at Will. He didn't need to. He could tell who the visitor was and what he was carrying just by smelling it. Will's gaze was glued to the dog. After a while, he told Feng Zhao the purpose of his visit. Borrow the dog? This was the first time Feng Zhao had encountered such a situation. Will didn't seem like the kind of person who liked pets. Even though his gaze was glued to Curly Hair, there was no envy in his gaze, nor was there the fondness of a pet lover. It was a different kind of gaze, like he was looking at a rare object. So when Will said he wanted to borrow the dog, Feng Zhao was taken aback. Curly Hair, who was sprawled by Feng Zhao's feet, snorted. Will's expression was solemn, and his entire being exuded a sense of seriousness, indicating that what he said was not a joke, but that he really had this thought. I want to draw a dog. I want to draw your dog, but I can't do it. More contact might give me inspiration, so I want to borrow your dog. If you just want to interact more, I can let Curly Hair drop by. We are neighbors, so we can interact more that way, Feng Zhao said. No, Will shook his head. I mean closer contact, closer observation. Nanfeng, who was cutting vegetables in the kitchen and eavesdropping, couldn't help but glance in Will's direction. Will continued. It's really too difficult to draw, so I hope that I can spend more time to see it in its truest form. It would be even better if I could take the dog out for a walk. I heard that more exercise can help a dog release its natural instincts. Oh, I almost forgot. What is its hobby? Feng Zhao. Silence. He couldn't tell Will that this was a dog that was addicted to the game. What is his nature? Asked Will. Feng Zhao. The silence continued. He felt that it was best that Will didn't know. However, Will continued to ask questions with a serious face. It was rare for him to have so much to say. He looked like he was discussing a difficult academic problem. And he even pulled out a notebook, intending to seriously jot down Feng Zhao's answers. These could all be the key to developing a sense of spirituality. However, Feng Zhao's silence made Will gradually reveal a disappointed expression. It turned out that even Feng Zhao himself didn't know these questions. The house quietened down, and the atmosphere became a little awkward. Will, who had sunk into an awkward conversation, opened a page in his notebook and looked at the dog borrowing notebook before saying, "You don't have to worry about not raising the dog well. My family will send someone over. I have hired someone to take care of it, and the person will be here tonight. Also, these are the notes I've made recently." Feng Zhao took another notebook from Will and flipped through it. Looking at the notes, he knew that Will had really put in a lot of thought and hadn't just said it casually, even though almost none of the notes matched Curly Hair's situation. To prove his sincerity, Will also indicated that he could sign a dog borrowing agreement. There's also dog food. It will definitely be high-quality dog food. I have also taken a look at the kennel. I will buy whatever he likes immediately. Feng Zhao returned the notebook, thought for a bit and said, "I need to consider this matter." Will was anxious when the dog borrowing didn't succeed. He wanted to say something more, but Feng Zhao raised his hand to stop him. "I will give you an answer tomorrow morning at 9. Seeing Feng Zhao insist, Will could only agree. As he left, he turned back 3 times with each step and glanced at the dog on the floor. After Will left, Namfeng came out from the kitchen. "Boss, you have to consider it carefully." Namfeng wasn't willing to let Feng Zhao borrow the dog. "So what if a painting costs 30 million? My boss's dog is worth 200 million. Is this something that can be casually borrowed? This kind of small pet dog is delicate. Will can't even raise himself well. How can he raise a dog? What if he raises it to death? Even if he doesn't raise it to death, if he raises it to illness, or if the dog develops psychological problems or some unseen injury, then there would be no way to regret it. There was only one pet dog worth 200 million in the entire world. Furthermore, boss, Will isn't a reliable person. I feel that under his calm and indifferent face, he is definitely thinking of some deranged things." Feng Zhao waved his hands. "I have my own considerations." Seeing that Feng Zhao wasn't willing to say more, Namfeng kept his mouth shut. To be a qualified assistant, one had to listen to the boss first. One had to follow wherever the boss pointed. One had to do whatever the boss said. Even if the boss' decision was wrong, one had to follow. In the evening, the servant and nutritionist that Will had mentioned arrived. Besides these two, there were also 2 bodyguards. They didn't live in the dormitory, but in the school's reception area. It was close to the dormitory, so they could rush over quickly if anything happened. In Will's dormitory, he saw the nutritionist carrying a suitcase. Puzzled, Will asked, "What's this suitcase?" "Rabies vaccine," the nutritionist replied. "For the dog?" "No, for you. If you get bitten by a dog, use this." Will fell silent. He recalled the fear of being bitten by a dog when he was young. But very quickly, the pursuit of art dispelled the fear that had just arisen. In the face of art, everything was a paper tiger. Besides, Feng Zhao's dog was usually very obedient and didn't bite people. There was no need for this. Next door there were no outsiders. Feng Zhao shut the windows and listened to Curly Hair's instructions. Given Curly Hair's learning ability, he could understand everything Will said and what was going on next door. Although Will doesn't seem reliable, he has a pure heart. He doesn't have any ulterior motives. Curly Hair lay on the floor and whimpered unwillingly. Feng Zhao continued, "I can make some alterations to the door and install a new smaller door. You can help him look for inspiration during the day and eat and drink. At night, you can come back to the dormitory to sleep." Curly Hair was still whimpering, but his voice was softer. Also, I need to go out in a few days. You know about the film festival. Are you coming with me or staying here? Curly Hair stopped whimpering and swung his tail as if in deep thought. If Feng Zhao went out on his own to look for inspiration, Curly Hair would definitely follow. But there were too many people at the film festival. Curly Hair didn't like those noisy places. People were too casual these days. If he wasn't careful, he would be stroked and unable to bite. Based on Curly Hair's reaction, Feng Zhao guessed what Curly Hair was trying to say. I don't want to go. I want to stay at home and play games. You can't play games all day. Feng Zhao's words made Curly Hair listless again. Feng Zhao made his decision after some consideration. The next morning, Will, who hadn't been able to sleep the whole night due to worry, came to the door with dark circles under his eyes. I can borrow the dog, Feng Zhao said. Will's eyes lit up. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I have a condition. Feng Zhao stated his condition. He would make some alterations to the dormitory door and create a dog hole for Curly Hair. Curly Hair would help Will find inspiration during the day and return to the dormitory the rest of the time. I'll be away from school for a while to participate in some activities. We can stick to this agreement for those days. If Curly Hair was raised well, and there weren't any problems, there would be more opportunities for collaboration in the future. But if something went wrong, then there was no room for discussion. Don't worry. I won't let him go hungry. I'll buy dog food now. What kind does he eat? What else do I need to prepare? Will fished out his notebook and took notes as he asked. In his spare time, he even used the dog rubbing technique he had practiced for over 10 hours to quickly stroke Curly Hair's back. Seeing Curly Hair open his mouth and reveal a mouthful of white teeth, Will quickly retracted his hand and asked Feng Zhao cautiously, Does he want to bite me? No, he's just expressing friendliness. Will, is that so? Childhood trauma was still very deep. In order to find inspiration as soon as possible, Will took Curly Hair out for a walk after signing the dog loan agreement with Feng Zhao. 2 bodyguards hired by Will Sr. were following them not far away. After all, this was a dog worth 200 million. Even though Huang Art's security wasn't bad, they still had to be on guard. If this dog was stolen, it would be a huge loss. Also, they had to prevent Will from getting bitten. People familiar with Will felt as though they had been startled by a Category 10 hurricane when they saw this. How could Will keep a dog? Had he forgotten his painful childhood experiences? How could he keep a dog when he was bitten by a dog? If a dog bit his finger or injured his arm muscles, the rest of his life would be crippled. Find inspiration? Are you even willing to sell your soul for the sake of painting? Will was even more bewildered by everyone's persuasion. Wasn't I just borrowing a dog to try and find inspiration? Why was everyone acting like the sky was falling? This dog is very obedient. Really, it's not aggressive. It doesn't bite people. Chapter 359. According to the dog borrowing agreement, if Will had nothing to do during the day, Curly Hair would go over. When Will was writing his thesis, Curly Hair would sleep in his new kennel. When it was time to wake up for dinner, Curly Hair would put on a leash and go out for a walk in the afternoon. After walking, Curly Hair would return to Feng Zhao's place and play games all night. Feng Zhao had said that Curly Hair couldn't play games all day, so he could only play at night. Curly Hair would sleep during the day. Will tried raising a dog for 2 days and felt that raising a dog was rather simple. Feng Zhao had said that he didn't need to bathe the dog or arrange for someone to clip Curly Hair's nails. All he needed to do was arrange for food and lodging and keep an eye on Curly Hair when he went out for walks. It was that simple. While on the phone with his family, Will had said, That dog is very obedient. He didn't bite the sofa, didn't bite the stool, didn't tear up my artwork and didn't bark. He knows where to defecate and sits there obediently when I comb his fur. Especially when I'm working, he is very quiet. He just eats a little too much. Will felt that what people online were saying was wrong. Raising a dog was clearly very easy. There wasn't anything troublesome about it. The only thing that made Will depressed was that he didn't have any inspiration. He couldn't draw a single line on a piece of paper. However, Will Sr. felt more at ease after hearing Will's words. As expected of a dog worth 200 million, He's smarter and more obedient than other dogs. As for inspiration, this is something that can only be chanced upon. Don't deliberately think about it. Perhaps it will appear in an instant. You have to be patient and calm your heart. Will understood what Will Sr. was saying, but he had an inexplicable feeling that he wouldn't make any progress if this continued. He felt uneasy, as though something was missing, but he couldn't say what it was. No matter what, he would raise him like this for now. Perhaps it would really be as Will Sr. said. When would inspiration come? Will Sr. asked Will a few more things, and was relieved to know that Curly Hair was doing well. As for what Will said about Curly Hair eating a little too much, Will Sr. didn't take it to heart. How much could a small dog like this eat? No matter how big his appetite was. After the call ended, Will turned around just as a servant came in with a new package. Sir, you've bought snacks for the dog again. The storage room in the dormitory is full, and it's almost full. The servant had served the Will family for more than 30 years and spoke casually. He doesn't like it. I asked Feng Zhao. He likes things that are harder. Will hurriedly tore open the packaging and threw a piece of artificial bone into Curly Hair's bowl. The servant had experience with dogs before. She looked at the bone that the puppy would not be able to eat, and then looked at the parameters on the exterior. She said to Will, "This is the kind that big dogs eat, and it's a special snack for big dogs with strong jaws. Puppies won't be able to chew it." Before he could finish his words, he heard a kacha-kacha sound. Curly Hair quickly gobbled down the snack, that was known to be specially used by large dogs with great bite strength, like a crispy biscuit. The helper. Discreetly, she took a step away from the dog. Kacha-kacha, kacha sounds continued. Apart from the oblivious Will, the servants and bodyguards all raised Curly Hair's danger level in their hearts. The servants and bodyguards also discussed in private. Should we talk to old Mr. Will? Otherwise, if something happens, he might not be able to recover even if he is sent to the hospital. Yes, with that kind of bite strength, a tragedy will happen. Mr. Will Jr.'s hand is worth 30 million per painting. Did he buy insurance? Speaking of Mr. Will Jr.'s painting, it seems to have reached 37 million yesterday. One of the bodyguards stared at the newly opened display page and swallowed his saliva. No. Just now, it has already reached 40 million. 40 million per painting. Mr. Will Jr.'s hand is too precious. In the future, we must guard against him touching dogs. In a certain city in Huangzhou, an investor had just placed a bid of 40 million, officially raising the bid to the 40 million level. Beside him, the investor's son was very puzzled by his father's actions. So Dad, you also think highly of this painting? When did you learn how to paint? No, I think highly of these two people, Will and Feng Zhao. The investor waved his finger and didn't continue to explain. Instead, he asked his son, a genius painter and a rising star in both art and business. What's the conclusion? Two geniuses? It's money. The investor's fingers tapped on the surface of the table, his sharp gaze fixed on the slowly rising figures on the screen. Judging by the momentum, if Feng Zhao can stir up some big news at the Corral Film Festival, it will rise even more. The investor's son didn't quite understand what his father meant, but he knew about the Corral Film Festival. He checked online and was stunned when he saw the latest push notifications. Ha! Feng Zhao is selling his dog? He finally sold his $200 million dog? There was some news online about Feng Zhao selling his dog, and there were pictures to prove the truth. The accompanying picture was of Will walking the dog, but some people retorted that Will and Feng Zhao were neighbors. Now everyone knew that it was possible that Will was helping to walk the dog, not necessarily selling it. However, the majority of the online push notifications were dominated by the Corral Film Festival. News of Feng Zhao selling his dog was quickly overshadowed by news of other celebrities. For example, photos of so-and-so at the beach, so-and-so street photo, so-and-so appearing with so-and-so in a cafe on Corral Island, and so on. Elsewhere, Feng Zhao had applied for leave. He was also preparing to head to the Corral Archipelago to participate in the Corral Film Festival. The Corral Archipelago, a district of Huangzhou, was named after the corals and had unbelievably beautiful underwater colors. The Corral Film Festival, held there, was one of the most influential and artistic film festivals in the world. It was also the largest comprehensive film festival. It included awards for movies, series, short films, and other aspects. Besides political and business considerations, it also emphasized artistry. The highest prize was the Golden Coral Award. Namfeng had started making preparations as soon as Fang Zhao had received the invitation. As an all-round assistant, I've already reserved a parking space on the main island of Corral. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to get a parking space and would have had to fly the flying transport to another small island. Yan Biao tidied up his new bodyguard uniform. Looking at a photo of the flying transport Namfeng had rented, he laughed. Hey Namfeng, this flying transport sure is flashy and luxurious. It won't be cheap to rent, will it? Boss is going to the Corral Film Festival, a film festival that causes a storm in the global entertainment circle every year. We can't have too little equipment. We can't let people look down on us, or we'll be laughed at. Besides the flying transport, I've also rented a flying car. We'll be able to drive it when we get there. The main thing is that boss can provide sufficient funds, he. Fang Zhao had also agreed to all of Nanfeng's requests after going through them. Whatever industry you were in, you had to abide by the rules of that industry. Nanfeng was familiar with film festivals, so as long as it wasn't too excessive, Fang Zhao would agree to all of Nanfeng's requests. I heard that boss might win an award this time. Best Supporting Actor or something. Zhuoyu rubbed his new sunglasses and put them on. Why do I hear that it's most likely to be a newcomer award? Yan Biao started searching online. He really didn't know much about this field, nor did he know what awards there were. Namfeng contacted someone on his personal terminal. He had even hired a stylist. He had already planned to give Fang Zhao a new look every day when they arrived at the Corral Archipelago. He couldn't lose out to others. Fang Zhao finished his last class and returned home to pack his things. He hadn't brought much with him, as Namfeng had already prepared everything for him. Fang Zhao went next door to take a look. Based on his observations over the past few days, Fang Zhao discovered that curly hair was adapting well. This little thing was even rather happy. Perhaps it was great eating and drinking next door. Every day he would eat, drink, sleep, and play games. How could he not be happy? However, in order to conceal this, curly hair controlled his appetite while eating and drinking next door. Now his appetite had increased to about the size of 3 large dogs. Thus, after eating next door, curly hair would still eat the dog food Fang Zhao had prepared for him. However, no one else knew about this. Fang Zhao had already told curly hair what he wanted to say. With others around, Fang Zhao didn't say too much. To prove that he wouldn't mistreat curly hair, Will took out a new shopping list. It was full of dog food and dog snacks. They were all expensive and nutritious. Namfeng said worriedly, "This is too much. Don't feed him like a pig." Will had a solemn expression. "Definitely not. How could a dog become a pig? Was this person stupid?" When Fang Zhao came out of the dormitory, Yan Biao and Zhuoyu were already waiting by the car door. Yan Biao saw Fang Zhao carrying a covered box and hurriedly ran over to help him carry it. "Boss, what's this?" It was rather heavy. "A mini aquarium," Fang Zhao replied. Fang Zhao hadn't brought curly hair this time, but he had brought the rabbit with him. If curly hair were to fly around, there was no telling what would happen. It was even possible that the rabbit would be eaten. Given curly hair's stomach that could even digest bullets, he was probably highly resistant to poison. Eating a sea slug would probably be fine. At most, he would have diarrhea. Furthermore, the Corral Archipelago was surrounded by the sea. There were also many people raising sea slugs, so there was no need to worry about food. He could also take the opportunity to see if there were any new food options. This rabbit had gotten a lot of appetite recently. Chapter 360. The Corral Film Festival lasted about half a month. Many people arrived early. There were also people like Fang Zhao who arrived a few days later, but not many. Fang Zhao had to attend classes. There were a few important classes that were concentrated over the next few days. Not just music, but painting, dance, and other subjects were the same. It was as if that bunch of teachers had purposely concentrated their classes over the next few days to force the advanced students to stay a few more days. One student had said in private that it was the teacher's prank. Fang Zhao set off 2 days later. The film festival had already begun. Online entertainment news was practically dominated by topics related to the Chorale Film Festival. Entertainment reporters had long been gearing up for action and were now reveling in the festivities. There will definitely be reporters at the airport. We have to tidy up before heading out, Namfeng said as he browsed the news online. Fang Zhao was easy to take care of. His hair was usually cut short. Plus, Fang Zhao didn't have any particular style requirements. So Namfeng had gotten someone to trim Fang Zhao's hair before leaving. The stylist could take care of the rest. The stylist was someone Namfeng knew. He had accompanied them this time and was responsible for Fang Zhao's outfit. Fang Zhao did not like flashy things. Therefore, the outfit he had prepared today looked simple, but no one would point out that it was inappropriate. This made Namfeng a little depressed. It was different from what he had imagined. He hadn't been able to bring out 20% of his potential. On the way, Namfeng chatted with a few people in the chat group and showed off to his old friends. He also exchanged information with other Silver Wing artists' assistants. As Fang Zhao's assistant, Namfeng had been dragged into Silver Wing's chat group not long after his appointment. Most people were called assistants and agents. At first, they had been wary of him because Namfeng hadn't been an official assistant. But soon, Namfeng had become a hot topic with the chat group. His boss was awesome. News about Fang Zhao kept popping up, which gave Namfeng some confidence. Fang Zhao's situation was a little special. Fang Zhao was still in advanced studies, so he didn't have much competition with other artists in the same company. This was one of the reasons Namfeng had been able to break into the inner circle so quickly. There was also internal competition within Silver Wing. Assistants couldn't reveal the private lives of their artists in this sort of chat group. They would talk a lot, but they wouldn't divulge anything important to their boss. At the same time, a few young actors were exchanging messages in a small chat group that Ji Polan had created. He had participated in the Yenzhou chapter of Founding Era. Although it had been a minor role that had not garnered much attention, Ji Polan had had a lot of works in the past few years. Regardless of whether he was the main character or not, he had always been able to make an appearance in a few films both within and outside the continent. Leaving an impression on people was a success. Of course, Ji Polan wouldn't pass up the opportunity to attend the Chorale Film Festival. Several young actors he was good friends with had come as well. They might not necessarily be able to get admission tickets to certain events, but they were willing to show up and broaden their horizons. Some of the celebrities who participated in the important activities of the Film and Television Festival accepted the invitation of sponsors and got admission tickets, while others gave up the opportunity given by the brands and entered with the film crew. There were so many premieres of movies and dozens of events, and every one of them would have a red carpet. After all, the members of the film crew were the minority, so a large number of filmmakers and public figures were needed to support them and hold up the stage. Walking the red carpet time and time again, without participating in the competition, did they really think that they were there to watch a movie? As for the less well-known celebrities, they might not even be able to walk the red carpet. Some people thought it was too tiring to walk the red carpet, while others couldn't even get one even if they wanted to. A few actors in the group were expressing their thoughts. Previously, they had felt that they were doing pretty well in Yenzhou, but here they were nothing. No one could recognize them, even if they walked down the street. They wouldn't even be given a second glance. Entertainment reporters? Entertainment reporters no longer cared about small fries like them. I just walked the red carpet. There were too many people, so security was tightened. I was chased out. Luckily, I took the photos and completed the company's assignment. I'll get the studio's editor to distribute the video. Don't post the video of me being chased out by security. I heard that 2 of the company's films are doing rather well at the exhibition hall today. They have already signed contracts with their partners. The market is booming this year. Films set during the period of destruction are selling exceptionally well. The popularity brought about by Founding Era won't die down for the next 5 years. My agent even got me to star in a film set during the period of destruction. Although I'm only a third male lead, the director is rather famous, and the male and female leads are A-listers. My roommate has taken on a TV series set during the period of destruction as well. Who's going to the movies? Let's go together. Idiot. It wasn't easy to get here. Yet you're going to the exhibition hall to watch a movie? Hurry up and walk the red carpet, take photos, and stir up the news. Where's your agent? Said he's looking for opportunities for me. Told me not to cause trouble. Staying in a hotel is boring. I lose 10 games. I might as well go to the movies. Don't even think about it. You won't be able to snag tickets for the big budget movies. You can only watch the smaller ones. I just watched a horror film this morning and broke out in a cold sweat in broad daylight. Needless to say, the quality of the films they bring to the film festival is really high. Where's Brother G? I saw the news yesterday that he went to attend a movie premiere. That was a real production. Why is he so quiet today? This isn't his usual style. Calling Brother G. Brother G, are you free today? Take us flying. G. Poland could be considered the ringleader of this group, and the one who was doing the best. Usually, G. Poland kept a high profile. Every day, he would post a few selfies on his social media platform. Especially since he had come to Corral, he would post at least twice a day. But today he hadn't posted a single one. This was too strange. There was no way a film festival like this would leave his social media platform empty. This wasn't like G. Poland's usual style. After a while, G. Poland replied in the group, "Not free. I'm at the airport to pick someone up." Pick up who? And Brother G has to go himself? If I remember correctly, all the big names in the company are here. No, there's still someone who hasn't arrived yet. Fang Zhao. Brother Zhao is on the island today. A group of people calling someone younger than them Big Brother smoothly, without any psychological burden. I'm going to the airport too. Which airport? Wait for me. My sunglasses are broken. Who has more? Why are you wearing sunglasses? Who do you think knows you? It would be great if he could be recognized. This is Corral we're talking about. While G. Poland and a few other young artists were waiting for Fang Zhao at the airport, a shiny golden flying transport with electric sparks appeared above the airport. It was especially eye-catching among all the other white, gray, and black flying transports. It did not land immediately after reaching the airport. Instead, it circled a few times in a flirtatious manner, attracting enough attention before slowly descending. Whose flying transport is this? It looks like it's been struck by lightning? A young celebrity asked, his eyes wide. Such a flashy arrival. It must be some badass character. Let's wait and see who comes out from the exit. With such a high profile, it will definitely be recognizable, G. Poland said. Indeed, as they had said, the flying transport was too eye-catching. The entertainment reporters waiting outside the airport were all excited. They hadn't stopped filming since the beginning, afraid they would miss a detail. Not long after, a person walked out from the exit. The bright colors, the flashy lace undershirt, and the flirtatious printed pants attracted everyone's attention the moment he appeared. G. Poland looked over and muttered, "I saw this style at Fashion Week last month, but the model wore it so fashionably. Why does it look so weird on him?" He wanted to hit someone. He actually brought 10 assistants with him. What kind of big event is he going to do? And the bodyguards behind him look like they're going to fight, right? One of the young celebrities was dumbfounded. Fuck. I actually wore the same outfit as his assistant. Another young celebrity covered his clothes uncomfortably. His outfit cost more than $100,000, and it was the most expensive outfit he had ever worn. But even the assistant's clothes were so expensive. He's inhumanly rich. No wonder he's Lijo's #1. But did Zero bring his work, or did he come with a brand? His work can't be brought here. As for the brand, his surname is the brand. Someone in the Renault family is a major investor in the film festival. Even if he wasn't invited, he just needs to pull some strings to get in. Just as the airport's attention was on Zero and his group, a flying transport landed at the airport. Yen Biao looked around as he stepped out of the cabin. It's just as Namfeng said. I thought ours was luxurious enough, but everyone else is the same. There's something even more flashy next to us. Fang Zhao stepped out and looked to the side. Because the airport was packed at this time of year, there were restrictions on flying transport. Large flying transports weren't allowed to park here. Small and medium-sized transports were usually allowed. The dazzling flying transport next to them was the kind that would exceed the standard. It was probably a custom-made model, and was clearly larger than the surrounding flying transports. Compared to this aircraft, Fang Zhao's aircraft, which was already rather ordinary, paled in comparison. Namfeng was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. According to the parking arrangements, this flying transport had landed not long before theirs. Who the fuck is this? Chapter 361. During the filming of Founding Era on Planet Y, Zero had said he wanted to change his stage name, and Fang Zhao had jokingly said Samiyet. From Fang Zhao's point of view, although Zero always looked like he deserved a beating, he had never done anything illegal. His thinking was still considered simple. Furthermore, Zero always called himself Lijo's smiling angel. He had even privately changed his nickname to Samiyet. Those who did not know the truth would find this nickname rather stylish when they first heard it. Zero had arrived 2 days late, not because superstars always appeared last, but because he had been reprimanded by his father. To attend the film festival, Zero had bypassed his father and sought out his grandfather, the governor of the province. By the time he had settled all the necessary passes and tickets, the film festival had already been over for 2 days. Senior Master, this trip to the film festival will go according to our original plan. You have to control yourself. This flying transport, for example, was not part of the plan. It was too high profile. Can we stick to the original plan? You promised the governor that you would. I promised it by patting my chest. Zero didn't care about his agent's ashen face. He had promised his grandfather that he wouldn't cause any trouble. But, was being high profile considered stirring up trouble? Wasn't that normal? In Zero's dictionary, being high profile wasn't even considered stirring up trouble. Adjusting his sunglasses, Zero gestured to the incoming fleet of luxury cars. Let's go. Let's stand here for 10 minutes. This bunch of enthusiastic reporters should be done taking photos. His agent, who was trailing behind, had a blank expression. Those entertainment reporters? Their gazes weren't those of idol chasing. They were those of watching a monkey show. He didn't need to go online to know what the entertainment reporters were reporting. Everyone in Lijo knew what kind of person Zero was. He didn't have any works that could win trophies at this level. He was probably here to join in the fun and pick up chicks. Zero's agent was worried. In Lijo, no matter what Zero did or how he courted death, the Renault family would back him up. Although the people of Lijo loved to scold Zero, they still treated him as a mascot and would occasionally have some fun. But in other continents, they would probably smash his head. Zero waved his hand impatiently at his agent's rambling. All right. I'm not stupid. Manager. Yes, you're smart. Your IQ is as high as 250. Just as he was about to leave, Zero heard a shout from the airport exit. It's Fang Zhao. Fang Zhao. Look over here. Fang Zhao. What do you think of Will's my neighbor? Hey, don't push. The one in front is blocking the way. What's that suitcase in Fang Zhao's hand? Could it be a secret weapon? Who cares? Let's take a picture first. It was time to look at the picture and talk again. It didn't matter what was in the box. What was important was how to make up the story with the picture. Fang Zhao had been in the limelight a while back. Everyone on every continent had heard his name. Entertainment reporters had paid close attention to the man who frequently appeared on television news, especially the Hull virus research and the Galaxy Supernova Award. His fame had eclipsed that of the God-level advanced course. Over the years, there had been plenty of people who'd made it into the 12 tones advanced course, but he was the only one who could help combat the Hull virus by composing a song. Entertainment reporters didn't usually get a chance to photograph him. Now that the opportunity had presented itself, they wouldn't let it go. Camping out at the airport had paid off. Ji Polin and the others who'd come to pick up Fang Zhao didn't manage to squeeze in. Wow! God Zhao is so popular? A young artist said enviously. The reporters camping out at the airport aren't just from Yenzhou. Those are entertainment reporters from all 12 continents. Ji Polin was also envious. Even the top stars of the company can't achieve this effect, right? Many celebrities were famous in Yenzhou, but on a global scale, they were insignificant. Not far away, Zero watched as the group of reporters swarmed Fang Zhao like cats who'd smelled blood. His sunglasses fell off in disbelief. Zero hadn't felt anything when the reporters had snapped photos from a distance of about 10 meters. Now that he saw it, it was like a stab to the heart. What the devil? He must have practiced some sort of godly defensive technique, without us knowing. He's stealing my halo. Zero's agent. Are you an idiot? On the other side, Zuoyu and Yin Biao fully displayed the fruits of their studies during this period of time. They escorted Fang Zhao into the car. A reporter had wanted to reach out and grab Fang Zhao, but Zuoyu had blocked him. After getting into the car, Fang Zhao received a call from Ji Polin. Fang Zhao told them the hotel's location and asked which road was quieter. Ji Polin and the others, who had arrived early, knew better. They were more useful than the GPS. After all, they were going to the red carpet, so they paid attention to all kinds of events, big or small. By the time Fang Zhao and his entourage checked into the hotel, Ji Polin and the others had arrived. They had lunch together. Ji Polin fought to pay the bill, and Fang Zhao didn't argue with him. Fang Zhao also agreed to take a group photo and post it on social media. Big brother Zhao, where are we going after eating? Ji Polin asked. Namfeng glanced up at Ji Polin. This brat's desire to hug his thigh just won't die. Of course. Fang Zhao knew what Ji Polin and the others were thinking. He replied, I plan to go watch a movie. Any film that can be exhibited at the Corral Film Festival should be of good quality. Seeing that Fang Zhao did not refuse, Ji Polin hurriedly said, I will go too. I've been too busy, so I've only seen 2 screenings. Bring me along. I love watching movies. Another young artist chimed in. Me too. Me too. Since I have nothing better to do, I'll tag along. The others chimed in. These people seemed to have forgotten what they had said in the group chat. Only fools would attend a film festival. As for the next day's schedule, Ji Polin had other work to do, and the others weren't completely idle. Even if they wanted to slack off, they had agents to supervise them from behind. They hadn't spent so much effort to bring them to the film festival, just to slack off. Fang Zhao didn't have their assignments, but he had his own arrangements. In terms of film and television, he had acted in founding era. TV series were different from movies. There were more events at the film festival. Many directors would bring their new films over, and there would be more publicity. On the other hand, TV series had already aired or finished airing. There were events, but they had nothing to do with Fang Zhao. He didn't have any special requirements. He just had to attend the awards ceremony. Fang Zhao had read up on Corral. There was a Corral branch of the Marine Biology Research Institute, one of the world's 3 largest breeding bases for sea slugs. However, it wasn't on the main island where the film festival was being held, but on a smaller island. There were many islands in the Corral archipelago. Because of the film festival, most people only knew of the main island, which was Corral Island. Even if you wanted to buy a sea slug, you didn't necessarily have to go to the smaller island. There were many trading centers and shops on the larger island, which made the smaller island less visible. Fang Zhao planned to take his rabbit to the small island where the research institute was located. There were some rare species of sea slugs there, as well as many species that weren't sold to the public. They could also perform physical examinations on sea slugs, which was more professional. Fang Zhao had all the necessary documents, so the day after he arrived in Corral, he carried his water tank and headed for the small island where the research institute was located. Silver Wing Media Headquarters. Duan Qianji, chairman of the board and CEO of the company, listened to her secretary's report, which focused on the situation at the film festival. The team she had dispatched to negotiate deals and collaborations had gone smoothly. The artists under the company were also looking for opportunities to increase their value. What about Feng Zhao? Didn't he ask the company for help? Duan Qinji asked suddenly. No, he didn't. After he arrived at the hotel yesterday, he had dinner with Ji Polin and the others, then went to the movies. What kind of movies did he watch? Duan Qinji was curious. She also wanted to speculate about Feng Zhao's preferences based on the movies he watched. According to his assistant, Feng Zhao watched historical, modern and sci-fi movies. He even watched 2 children's cartoons. Duan Qinji. Children's cartoons? Unable to figure out what Feng Zhao was thinking, Duan Qinji asked again. So where did he go today? I remember there were 3 movie premieres today. Usually, besides the cast and crew, big directors and celebrities would attend these kinds of screenings. People who weren't invited or didn't have tickets would also go on the red carpet. Feng Zhao. He left the main island early this morning and headed for the small island where the Marine Biology Research Institute is located. He said he was going to give his pet sea slug a checkup. The secretary's voice trailed off. Duan Qinji, who was in the middle of signing a document, paused. As if she hadn't heard clearly, she asked again. Where did he go? The Corral branch of the Marine Biology Research Institute. To give his pet sea slug a checkup. Chapter 362. Feng Zhao was no longer someone Silver Wing could control. Now, even if Silver Wing kept tabs on Feng Zhao's movements, they had no way of predicting what he would do next. Previously, everyone had felt that with the invitation in Feng Zhao's hand and his current fame, he could easily walk the red carpet at the premiere of any big-budget film without fear of being chased away. There would also be reporters from every continent rushing to interview and report on him. The film company would surely welcome someone like Feng Zhao to support them. However, contrary to what everyone had thought, Feng Zhao went to a small island's research institute to do a pet checkup after watching a few movies that weren't that popular the first day. Impossible to guess. That was what everyone at Silverwing thought. Some people even wondered if Feng Zhao knew that people were watching him and analyzing his preferences. So he had done this on purpose. However, these people were overthinking things. Feng Zhao had really gone to watch the movie seriously, including the 2 children's cartoons. He had his own motives. Now, because of the popularity of Founding Era, as well as the lifting of the ban on themes set during the period of destruction, more and more movies and series set during the period of destruction were being produced. However, the period of destruction was a special period, an era that many people of the new era could not understand. To make a movie with this theme well, a grand screenwriter and director, a top-notch music production team, outstanding actors who could support the epic theme, and other important factors were indispensable. Otherwise, the movie might very well be covered in the skin of the period of destruction and have nothing to do with it. From an artistic point of view, it wasn't impossible to adapt it, but as someone who had personally experienced the cruelty of the period of destruction, Feng Zhao hoped that people would look at that period of history with reverence and reflection, and not with self-righteous embellishments or jokes that had nothing to do with them. The movie set during the period of destruction that Feng Zhao had watched was not bad. It told the story from an even more ordinary point of view, and the soundtrack had its own unique characteristics. In the past, Feng Zhao had actually paid more attention to analyzing the soundtrack of the movie. It wasn't just this movie. When he watched the other movies, Feng Zhao had also analyzed the soundtrack of those movies. Different movie genres had different musical characteristics. It was even possible to encounter some unknown composers. Even if the movie was a low-budget one, it would still take a lot of effort to produce it. If the soundtrack was not done well, it would bring a negative experience to the audience. The audience might find it noisy, annoying, and could not empathize with it. After watching these few matches, Feng Zhao had discovered some new techniques. According to his notes, he could write a thesis in the next 2 days. During his advanced studies, there was a limit on the number of theses he could write. Feng Zhao felt that there was a lot to write. There were so many things he could learn and analyze during the film festival. Thus, When Fang Zhao pulled out his notebook to take notes after watching the film, Ji Polin and the others were at a loss. Could it be that the difference between them and Fang Zhao was in their impressions? Right. I'll write it when I get back. As for the cartoon, among Ji Polin and the others, some were engrossed, while others fell asleep. Only Fang Zhao was different. His eyes were glued to the screen, the pen in his hand constantly scribbling in his notebook. The lighting in the projection room was very dim. Ji Polin had no idea what Fang Zhao could comprehend from watching the cartoon. Blindly scribbling with his eyes glued to the screen, would he be able to recognize what he wrote? However, when he finished watching, he was too embarrassed to ask Fang Zhao for his notes. Writing blindly wasn't difficult for Fang Zhao. He had already gotten used to it during the period of destruction. Apart from that, when Fang Zhao watched these cartoons targeted at children, besides analyzing the soundtrack, he could also see the education situation of children in the new era from the content and presentation of the cartoons. Thus, compared to the other films, Fang Zhao wrote more notes for these two children's cartoons. During the period of destruction, life was about survival, saving oneself, and then picking up weapons to attack. The first things that children might pick up were not spoons for eating, but guns and knives. However, these were not needed in the new era. As someone who had experienced the old era, the period of destruction, and the new era, this experience was very mystical. These were things that others could not understand, and Fang Zhao did not need others to understand. When he brought his pet for a checkup, Fang Zhao also brought along his notebook. He could also write his thesis in his spare time. Before heading to the research institute, Fang Zhao contacted the breeder of this hybrid rabbit, Denzel. Denzel told Fang Zhao that he had a student working here who researched sea slugs. After arriving at the research institute's small island, Denzel's student personally came over to pick Fang Zhao up. I am Ren Hong. You can just call me Ah Hong. Ren Hong had a cheerful personality. He looked like a student who had just graduated from university, but he had actually been working at the research institute for 10 years. The people of the Coral Archipelago had seen a lot of big names. Their clientele was more high-end, so they treated Fang Zhao casually. However, Fang Zhao was different from other celebrities. The halo of the Galaxy Supernova Award was bigger, and with Denzel's introduction, Ren Hong treated Fang Zhao more warmly than other people. Ren Hong drove Fang Zhao to the venue. Outsiders couldn't go to the Research Institute's experimental department. Tourists usually went to the venue, where sea slugs were traded, veterinary shops, and all sorts of small shops were located. This is the sea slug that my teacher bred? Ren Hong was especially interested in the rabbit in the water tank. However, he had received the information Denzel had sent him, and knew that this one was rather toxic, so he didn't dare touch it carelessly. There are many types of feed here. Some of them are even higher in natural ingredients. Some are limited, and only sold in the Coral region. You can buy more this time. Along the way, Ren Hong told Fang Zhao a lot about the market for sea slugs. The venue belonged to the Research Institute. They had a high income and didn't lack money. However, in recent years, with the rise in popularity of new varieties of goldfish and other non-toxic ornamental fishes, the pressure on them had increased. This year, the institute has bred a few better-looking sea slugs. They are less toxic and won't hurt people. They just hit the market. Many families with elderly and children have come to pre-order them. You can buy more when the time comes. The sea slug trading venue was very lively. There were businessmen and celebrities attending the film festival. Fang Zhao saw quite a few familiar faces along the way. Ren Hong led Fang Zhao in. Many of the people walking over were carrying or dragging water tanks of various sizes. There were all sorts of sea slugs in the tanks. Some of them were brightly colored and had very lively natures. As they swam around in the water tanks, one could tell that they were full of energy. Fang Zhao didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that the rabbit he was carrying had been exceptionally quiet after entering the venue. It had been lying there motionlessly, as if it was fake. Fang Zhao also saw quite a number of sea slugs in the water tanks that tourists were carrying. They didn't look gorgeous, and were slightly bigger, about the size of an adult's fist. They couldn't compare to Fang Zhao's rabbit, but they were considered big among sea slugs. Are those also for raising? Fang Zhao asked. Buying to eat. Ren Hong pointed at Fang Zhao. Those for viewing are over there. Those over here are for eating. If they aren't colorful and don't look special, they will all be eaten unless the meat isn't tasty. But the meat of most sea slugs is pretty good. They have high nutritional value and aren't poisonous to the human body when processed well. They are good for health. Look, those over there. The meat is tender and doesn't taste pungent. I'll buy them to make soup for the elderly at home. And those over there are more suitable for young people. Young people have young people's needs. Ren Hong gave Fang Zhao a knowing look. If you want to buy them, I'll help you buy them. You just have to transfer the money to me. We have an internal staff price. Seeing Ren Hong's strong recommendation, Fang Zhao also bought a batch suitable for the elderly and mailed them to 2 elderly people in Yanbei City. He also bought some snacks and souvenir ornaments to mail to others. Ren Hong was so happy that his eyes were about to disappear. They had an internal staff price, but they also got a commission. The research institute didn't lack money, and the employees were rich. No wonder Denzel said this was a big client. It was worth it for him to wake up early in the morning to prepare. Ren Hong thought to himself. After calculating the commission he could get, Ren Hong's face became even more enthusiastic. He introduced the value of the various sea slugs to Fang Zhao and stuffed a small booklet into Fang Zhao's hands. The booklet recorded the cooking methods and taboos of tens of edible sea slugs. Steaming, boiling, stir-frying, and roasting all had detailed steps. There were also some advertising recommendations. Different species, different flavors, and different nutritional values. We pay particular attention to diet here. The sour, salty, bitter, and spicy ones all have different effects. The bitter ones clear heat and detoxify. The sour ones stop perspiration and diarrhea. There are also a few types over there. The meat is a little sweet, and it's nourishing. After introducing all the species around them to Fang Zhao, Ren Hong's gaze landed on the water tank in Fang Zhao's hands. I really don't know what this one of yours tastes like. After all, it's a hybrid. Our institute hasn't done any research on it yet. Contact me when you don't want to keep it anymore. I'll change the feed and clear the toxicity. After feeding it for a month, cut a piece for me to do research on. You can eat the rest of the meat and leave some soup for me. Ren Hong had checked the value of Fang Zhao's hybrid sea slug. It was too expensive to buy, so he could only wait until Fang Zhao no longer wanted to keep it and wanted to eat it, so he could ask for some for research. Such a big lump could cook a whole pot. Fang Zhao had bought everything he wanted. He knocked on the water tank and told Ren Hong, "Give it a checkup first. It doesn't seem to be in a good mood today. All right, let's go over there. There are some equipment we can borrow from a friend's shop. They're all new models, and the results are very accurate." Ren Hong personally did a checkup on the rabbit that Fang Zhao had handed over. The results would take about 10 minutes to come out. Fang Zhao went to the feed store next door to look at the feed that Ren Hong had recommended. However, the rabbit, that usually seemed to be able to eat anything, had a particularly poor appetite today. He had thrown in a Corral specialty feed that was said to be extremely popular and had not eaten a single grain. His ears were pressed close to his body as he continued to lie there motionlessly. Not to mention that it wasn't acclimatized to the climate. It had eaten a lot the day before. Today, it had only eaten a little in the morning and hadn't eaten anything since arriving here. Especially after arriving at the venue, it had gone into a state of playing dead. Seeing the situation, Fang Zhao wasn't in a hurry to buy feed. He was about to find a place to sit and wait for the results when he heard a hearty laugh from outside. "Hey, old Tan, you didn't attend the film festival?" Ren Hong greeted the newcomer with a smile. Although he was called Old Tan, the newcomer wasn't old at all. He was middle-aged and well-built. Ren Hong wasn't sure what he had just said, but he was laughing heartily, which attracted Ren Hong's attention. The newcomer was carrying a water tank. When he heard someone call out to him, he turned around, and his eyes lit up. He took a few quick steps, bypassed Ren Hong, who was about to give him a hug, and stopped in front of Fang Zhao. "Fang Zhao. Hello. I'm Tan Min." As he spoke, Tan Min handed Fang Zhao a business card. Fang Zhao glanced at the introduction on the card. Director, Tan Min, a Corral native. He used to be a scuba diver before switching careers to director. He wasn't well known on a global scale, but he was quite well known here in Corral. The advantage of being a local was obvious, just from the way he chatted and laughed with the surrounding shop owners. But Fang Zhao had no intention of acting right now. In his plans, he had to compose, write his thesis, and prepare for his second major concert after graduation. He had no time to act. Chapter 363. Tan Min had no other choice. As a local, attending the film festival had its advantages. It was close to home, and it gave him some special privileges. Usually, he still had some fame in the local area, and there were people who were willing to invest in some of his films. However, in the past, he had only filmed documentaries about the ocean. Now he wanted to film a movie, and wanted to get investors. Unfortunately, 11 out of 10 directors who were active in the film festival were looking for investors, and the extra one was a newcomer. It was even harder to get investors for someone like Tan Min, who had switched to directing in the middle of his career. He didn't want people's impression of him to remain in marine documentaries. He had been busy for a few days without much success. He couldn't squeeze into some events, so he could only hang around the periphery. He had come to buy a few sea slugs for his kid, but he hadn't expected to bump into Fang Zhao. There had been too much news about Fang Zhao recently. Tan Min knew that Fang Zhao was rich, and he knew that some actors invested in films when they weren't acting, so he had rushed over. Invest in a movie? Fang Zhao hadn't expected to hear such a question. He didn't plan on acting, but investing in a movie wasn't out of the question. Tan Min was delighted that Fang Zhao hadn't rejected him immediately. He put on a warm smile and said, "If you have time, how about we chat at the cafe over there? I've already written the script." Seeing Tan Min like this, Ren Hong also chimed in. "How about this, Fang Zhao? You've been walking around the venue for quite a while. Why don't you guys go over there and have some tea, chat, and rest? I'll send the results over to you when they're out." "Sure." Fang Zhao nodded. Tan Min also knew the people at the cafe. They had reserved a small, clean room for Fang Zhao and recommended some local specialties and snacks. Fang Zhao ordered a cup of tea. He wasn't in a hurry to read Tan Min's script. Instead, he asked Tan Min a few questions. "Why did you want to be a director?" Tan Min had calmed down after drinking half a glass of iced lemonade. He paused when he heard Fang Zhao's question and said, "The Corral Archipelago has a strong film and art scene. People here like to film. I used to be a diver and worked with the Research Institute. Sometimes when they needed to collect samples, we went over to help out when the machines were difficult to operate. Our equipment was up to par, and we had been to the deep sea a few times, so we knew the ocean pretty well." Tan Min was in a good mood when he talked about what he had seen and felt when he worked in shallow or deep waters as a diver. His previous nervousness and apprehension had faded quite a bit. "At first, I just tried to shoot some videos about the ocean and make them into specials. Later, I won an award, which also aroused my interest in this industry and opened a new door in my life. I want to shoot more movies about the ocean, so that when people look up at the starry sky, they can also look at the ocean on this planet." Tan Min's voice was tinged with excitement. "I heard from a director who came here to participate in the film festival that curiosity and the power of the phenomenon lead to stories. The ocean is a magical place, and it gives me a lot of inspiration. I am going to the Inland Huangzhou Directing Advanced course. I have also suggested to a few students who live inland that when they feel that they lack inspiration, they should go to the aquarium. There might be something they need there. Now there are a lot of deep-sea creatures on display in the larger aquariums. Those deep-sea creatures have been growing in places that people can't notice. They look weird and constantly challenge people's imagination. I feel that they have this kind of growth mentality. Since no one else can see them, I'll just grow wherever I want. And every person who enters the deep-sea creature exhibition for the first time will probably sigh and say, 'Wow, they can actually grow like this.'" As he spoke, Tan Min started laughing heartily. Fang Zhao also smiled. He knew that there were many strange creatures in the ocean. Coupled with the environment of the period of destruction, they might have become even stranger now. Hearing Tan Min say this, he also decided to visit the aquarium when he had the time. Tan Min continued, "If you want to see monsters, you don't have to go to an alien planet. You can also see them on Earth. There are all kinds of monsters in the ocean. As long as you pay attention and observe, you will eventually find them." The Coral Archipelago is surrounded by the ocean, and this is the third largest aquarium in Huangzhou. After I became a diver, I rarely went to aquariums because I was in contact with the ocean almost every day. But after I became a director, every year I would take my children to various aquariums to expand their knowledge. The fish in the ocean aren't just what they look like on their dinner plates. As long as one's imagination is limitless, so is the future. Especially in our line of work, we have to expand our imagination. After giving a brief account of his career experience and insights, Tan Min changed the subject and asked Fang Zhao, "Have you heard the story of the mermaid?" Fang Zhao nodded lightly. "Yes, I'm very interested in this. I've also searched for many video resources about mermaids, even some preserved films from the old era. I've seen the mythological love stories and the biochemical versions of the amazing stories filmed by our predecessors. Of course, there are too many of them, and I have no intention of following the trend. I've never seen a mermaid, but I've raised sea slugs. I've raised them for many years. If I can't film mermaids, I'll film sea slugs." Tan Min was so excited that he even slapped the table. Fang Zhao's eyebrows twitched. He knew that Tan Min was getting to the point. Sure enough, Tan Min's expression turned serious as he said, "Actually, I want to make a movie about sea slugs, and it will also include some environmental issues. Humans and nature need to coexist harmoniously. Too many things were destroyed during the 100 years of the period of destruction. It took 500 years for us to recover. Humans have to cherish it, don't they?" Fang Zhao nodded again. Tan Min wasn't wrong. No one could understand this better than people like them, who had personally experienced disaster and destruction. Thinking about the oceans seen during the period of destruction, and then looking at the azure seas and clear skies of today, it was a rare sight. Seeing that Fang Zhao was listening, Tan Min spoke even more energetically. "Looks like there's hope for this deal. The story I'm going to film is a script I wrote myself. It took me 5 or 6 years to sort out." Tan Min wasn't worried about the contents of the script being leaked. Given Fang Zhao's current halo, he wouldn't do something that would damage his reputation. "Let me say this first, this is all fiction. Don't take it seriously. Let me explain it simply," Tan Min added, worried that Fang Zhao would be frightened by the contents of the script. Hearing Tan Min's words piqued Fang Zhao's interest. This story takes place in a small coastal city. The protagonist goes out to sea to fish with his family and catches a sea slug. This sea slug doesn't look special, but it's slightly different from others of the same species. He doesn't pay much attention to it. Seeing that it's still alive, he keeps it as a pet. Until one day, he realizes that the buds of a few potted plants in his house are gone. Fang Zhao's hand, which was holding the glass, froze. Tan Min continued. He looks around but can't find them. He doesn't pay much attention to them either. He guesses that maybe a neighbor or relative's kid plucked them when he comes over to play. He feels it's a pity. Later, when the protagonist comes back from the sea, he discovers that all the tender leaves in the potted plants are gone. Fang Zhao tapped his finger against the glass soundlessly. Tan Min continued. The protagonist is puzzled. He asks his family and confirms that no one else has entered the room while he was out at sea. After some thought, he installs cameras in all 4 corners of the room. Fang Zhao. Tan Min's face flushed with excitement as he got to the crux of the story. When the protagonist comes back from the sea again, he discovers that even the older leaves in the potted plants are gone. His heart trembles and he plays the footage. Then, he sees that the sea slug that he had fished up from the sea had actually opened its cover and crawled out while he was out at sea. Ha 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 ha, was he shocked? Fang Zhao. Chapter 364. Fang Zhao looked at Tan Min in silence. Tan Min's excitement died down under Fang Zhao's stare. His voice grew softer and softer. Roughly, that's the story. Tan Min raised his head and wiped the sweat off his forehead. He had only briefly explained the script, and it was only a shortened version of the story. Why did it feel like he was carrying a few hundred kilograms of cargo? Sure enough, the pressure was too great. If he couldn't get any investors, he didn't know if he could successfully film it. Noticing Fang Zhao's silence, Tan Min probed. Actually, this is all my own imagination. What do you think? Fang Zhao swirled his cup and smiled. Sure. If the beginning of the story wasn't so familiar, Fang Zhao would have given it a higher evaluation. Even though Tan Min had only outlined the general direction, Fang Zhao could tell that Tan Min had put some thought into it. The silence had been because Fang Zhao had been observing Tan Min. He wanted to make sure that Tan Min had really been mulling over the story on his own, and hadn't been inspired by spying on Fang Zhao. It was too much of a coincidence. Fang Zhao had no choice but to treat it with caution. Fortunately, as Tan Min had said, this story is purely fictional, so it was best to treat it as fiction. There were some things that even Denzel, the breeder of the rabbit, didn't know. For the time being, Fang Zhao had no intention of telling anyone else. Tan Min had no idea what Fang Zhao was thinking. When he heard Fang Zhao's reply, the uneasiness and inexplicable pressure in his heart dissipated. Then, are you interested in investing? Tan Min had prepared for a long time for his transformative work. He was only waiting for the next step of the shooting plan, after securing an investor. Tell me your plan. Fang Zhao didn't know whether Tan Min's story would be popular, but if it was filmed well, he wouldn't lose out. The beginning of the story was too familiar. Fang Zhao was startled, helpless, and amused. Now that he knew Tan Min wasn't lying, Fang Zhao was willing to back him up. The smile on Tan Min's face widened. This time, he didn't hide anything and laid out all the materials he had prepared. Ren Hong came over with the results of the physical examination. Seeing that they were still talking, he didn't go in and disturb them. He found a seat outside and waited. When they came out, Ren Hong saw that Tan Min's face was flushed and the corners of his eyes were wrinkled from smiling. Tan Min shook hands with Fang Zhao. Happy working with you. In order to show his sincerity and his excitement, Tan Min tightened his grip a little. When he regained his composure, he quickly loosened his grip for fear of angering the man. Seeing that Fang Zhao wasn't angry, Tan Min thought to himself, Fang Zhao really is a nice guy. Fang Zhao came out and saw Ren Hong. He asked about the results of the physical examination. Ren Hong handed Fang Zhao a health checkup report. Maybe you're not acclimatized and have a bad appetite, but you're very healthy. The test results are all within the normal range. The results are based on data provided by my teacher. Don't worry about the results being wrong. Since he was not sick, there was no need for Fang Zhao to continue staying here. Tan Min personally acted as a tour guide, introducing Fang Zhao to the culture and customs of the island. As a native of the Coral Archipelago, Tan Min knew the island better than researchers from other places. There were many things that Ren Hong didn't know, so he told Fang Zhao. In the evening, Tan Min brought Fang Zhao to a lighthouse by the sea. This is also one of the attractions that tourists like to visit. Many movies are shot here. During the old era, there really had been a lighthouse here, but it had collapsed during the period of destruction. At the start of the new era, the people here imitated the old lighthouse and built a sturdier one to commemorate it. It's said that the ancestors of our Coral Archipelago's district chief were lighthouse keepers. Later on, it was their family that organized the construction of the lighthouse. Every generation of their family, someone lives in the lighthouse, and tourists are welcome to visit. Fang Zhao looked over as he listened to Tan Min's words. The tall lighthouse stood erect by the sea, set off by the sunset and the waves. It looked solemn and gentle. The light that seeped out seemed to have a spiritual and poetic quality to it. For people of the new era, this was the charm of antiquity. The ancient-style buildings would always remind people of the historical imprints behind them. Although they were all newly built later, and the development of science and technology had no place for them. As a styled building and a landmark of the island, it would still attract many tourists to take photos and visit. Tan Min had been here many times. Looking at the lighthouse, memories of the past came back to him. When I first switched from being a diver to being a director, I was thwarted many times. I felt like my talent wasn't appreciated, and that I wasn't understood. I was young back then. I just wanted to find a place to sulk, so I went to the lighthouse and holed up. The lighthouse keeper at the time was a rather interesting little old man. He pulled me out and pointed above the sea. He said, "See that light up ahead? Even if that piece of cloud blocked the sun, it would still be dyed with light. As long as you are good enough, no one can cover up your brilliance." Tan Min chuckled as he recalled the past. I was really young back then. It felt like I had been fed a bowl of chicken soup for the soul. It was especially energizing. A few years later, I used this chicken soup to successfully transition and gain a foothold. It was only later that I found out that when I first switched from being a diver to being a director, this old man was the one who gave me the most backlashes. He never voted for me, and he was the one who stabbed me the hardest during regional competitions. So much so that when I thought back to what the old man said, I always felt like something was off. Fang Zhao chuckled and asked, "Didn't you ask that old man about it after you completed your job transition?" Tan Min spread his hands. "I was a coward. I didn't dare ask him. I was told that the old man was the grandfather of the Corral district mayor, and he had a bad temper." Tan Min sighed. Now the lighthouse keeper has changed. The old man is too old and has retired. The only time I mustered up the courage to pay him a visit was when the old man asked, "Who are you?" Actually, Tan Min didn't blame the old man. When he had first transitioned, he had indeed been on cloud 9 because he had won an award. His work hadn't been groundbreaking enough. It was understandable that the old man hadn't voted for him during the regional competitions. By the way, Fang Zhao, are you going to the main island tomorrow for the film festival? But if you do, I'll take you scuba diving. I just heard from a friend that they're going to help the research institute take samples. I'll go check it out, Tan Min said. Fang Zhao thought about it and said, "There's no hurry to go back to the main island." "All right, then I'll take you there tomorrow. We'll take the research institute's boat. You don't have to worry about equipment. I'll take care of it. If you're not used to scuba diving, you can do some activities at the Maritime Plaza. You don't have to worry about entertainment reporters there. Artists like you who go into seclusion when you're not paying attention have the weakest bodies. Get some exercise. Don't let your bones rust. Have you heard of the saying that a healthy body is as important as a healthy mind?" That day, Fang Zhao checked into a hotel on the small island. At the same time, Nanfeng, Yanbiao, and Zuoyu had received the free time notice. "Our boss dumped us again." In order to get closer to Fang Zhao, Tan Min also booked a room at the same hotel. He had wanted to chat with Fang Zhao about the movie, but he realized that Fang Zhao was working on his thesis, so he quietly returned to his room. The next day, Fang Zhao followed Tan Min to the Research Institute's sampling boat. There were 7 other divers on the boat that Tan Min knew. Tan Min chatted with his old friends for a bit. When he turned his head, he saw Fang Zhao helping the Research Institute staff carry the equipment. There were plenty of people who could carry equipment weighing more than 100 kilograms, but it was rare to see an artist who could do it so easily. One of the divers whispered to Tan Min, "Big brother Tan, is he the one you were talking about?" Tan Min opened his mouth and choked out, "Young people sure are in good health." Because Fang Zhao was helping to carry the equipment, the preparation time was greatly reduced. The Research Institute staff had been a little unhappy with Fang Zhao following them, but now they happily introduced the area to Fang Zhao. When the sampling boat reached the first target area, the divers went into the water with their equipment. Fang Zhao wasn't familiar with this business, so he only swam in the designated area. Tan Min was more familiar with the flora and fauna in the area, so he introduced whatever he saw to Fang Zhao. "There are corals here. Pretty, right? But don't touch them. There are surveillance cameras. Damaging the corals here is a heavy penalty. Don't try to catch any good-looking or strange-looking fish or shrimp. That's still a fine. You might even be banned from the island." Tan Min reminded Fang Zhao again, afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself. A fine was a small matter, but he didn't want to be blacklisted. Being banned from the island was no joke. Every year, at least 200 to 300 people were blacklisted. Fang Zhao didn't touch the corals. Instead, he quietly observed the underwater world. Then he swam back to the boat and changed into a diving suit that didn't cover his head. Instead, he wore a breathing mask that exposed his ears. Of course, Fang Zhao had to seek the approval of the sampling boat's supervisor before changing into a diving suit. After all, they would be held responsible if anything happened. Fang Zhao signed a liability agreement as required. He didn't find it troublesome. He signed all the necessary documents and went back into the water. Fuck. He's a lunatic. Does a newbie like him know how to protect his ears? One of the crew members thought he had encountered yet another capricious tourist. He could die if he doesn't keep his ear pressure in check. Lifeguards, get ready. One diver, follow him. Tan Min, take care of the person you brought with you. Tan Min felt bitter. Young people are so capricious. Regardless of what he thought, Tan Min and the other diver followed closely behind Fang Zhao in case of any accidents. However, they realized that after changing into a diving suit, Fang Zhao didn't do anything. All he did was swim slowly and aimlessly in the water. He didn't seem uncomfortable at all. Big brother Tan, this kid doesn't seem like a newbie, the other diver said to Tan Min through the intercom. Immerse. Tan Min didn't know what to say. He realized that he really didn't understand Fang Zhao. But Fang Zhao was his big boss now and his biggest investor. As long as his boss was happy, that was fine. Fang Zhao turned his attention back to the underwater world. Light and shadow intertwined in a dazzling display of colors. It was strange and lively. He could hear the waves crashing against the reefs. He could hear the faint sounds of schools of fish swimming around him in a panic. Among the corals, between the crevices of the reefs, tiny noises fought to be heard. The underwater world that Tan Min and the others thought was peaceful sounded extraordinarily lively to Fang Zhao. Seaweed waved its claws and fangs along with the waves. A small mackerel swam by nearby. Chapter 365. When Fang Zhao surfaced and safely boarded the boat, a diver asked him, "What were you doing?" "Looking for inspiration," Fang Zhao replied. The diver was silent for a moment before he understood. Artists went crazy, not because they were crazy, but because they were looking for inspiration. Tan Min was curious. "Were you listening to sounds? Otherwise, why would you deliberately expose your ears?" "Yes, I heard some sounds." Fang Zhao was in a good mood. He already had a lot of inspiration. After changing into his diving suit, he greeted everyone and left with his notebook. No matter how curious Tan Min was, he didn't dare disturb Fang Zhao. Watching Fang Zhao leave, another diver shook his head. "What can you hear underwater? Is he out of his mind?" But when he recalled Fang Zhao's nickname, he felt that this whole thing was a little mysterious. Perhaps he really could hear sounds that normal people couldn't? After all, his ears were known as diving in God's ears. The diver who had gone in earlier slapped his thigh. "I forgot to ask him where he learned to dive. Is that kid good at diving?" "I think he is." He encountered a strong current with upwelling and downwelling. But the kid didn't get washed away. He was very calm and didn't panic at all. "He didn't do any worse than us. I just want to know where he learned to dive." This name sounds familiar. Other than acting and composing, did this kid serve in the army before? "I think I heard that name in the military news." "Now that you mention it, I think I've heard it before, but it's been too long. I can't remember who it is. Let me search." Fang Zhao didn't know what the others on the boat were talking about him. At the moment, he was writing notes after notes in his notebook. When the song was completed, he would include it in his second concert. After the period of destruction, many marine life had been wiped out and new species had been born. But overall, the damage had been severe. Not to mention the beautiful scenery. What he had seen in the sea this time was even more profound than what he had seen in the aquarium. The feeling of returning to life was even stronger. This was one of the reasons he was willing to support Tan Min. Aside from the script, Feng Zhao could also see that Tan truly loved these waters. People who lived in this era did not have a deep understanding, but Feng Zhao was different. If Tan could convey his feelings for these waters, and his desire to protect them, what harm would there be in investing a little more money? Feng Zhao didn't follow the research institute's ship all the way. The space on the ship was limited, and it was impossible for them to prepare a room for him to compose in. Thus, when Feng Zhao came across a plaza on the water, he changed directions. It was a square floating on the water. In addition to some small shops selling food and drinks, there was also a swimming pool and a fishing area. Every year, many tourists came here to fish. Recently, because of the film and television festival, many tourists had gone to the Big Island, so there were fewer people here. Looking around, there were only a small group of young people playing there. They are all rich kids who don't have to worry about food and clothing. This is the third time this year. You should stay away from them. These people like to stir up trouble whenever they see a celebrity, a diver told Feng Zhao. After researching more information on Feng Zhao, the people on the boat had a better understanding of Feng Zhao. Before Feng Zhao disembarked, they asked for his autograph and enthusiastically recommended the best fishing spot for him. Tan also stayed behind. He had to keep an eye on Feng Zhao. After all, Feng Zhao was his biggest supporter. As a local, Tan was familiar with the operation of this sort of maritime plaza. He let Feng Zhao take a seat and went to handle the paperwork. It was easy for Tan, but it was Feng Zhao's first time, so it was a little more complicated. The institute had strict requirements for first-time visitors, so the procedures were a little more complicated. Feng Zhao was just about to sit down when he heard someone call out to him. Is that Feng Zhao? It really is Feng Zhao. Hey Feng Zhao, come over and join us. Tell us how you wrote the 4 movements of the 100-year period of destruction. Tan noticed the commotion and frowned. He was debating whether to go over and help when Feng Zhao gestured to him. Feng Zhao told Tan not to worry about the paperwork and to just handle the paperwork. He walked over to the group of young people. Hey Feng Zhao, about the Hull virus that was reported a while back. I just want to know why your 100-year period of destruction can cure diseases. A young man wearing sunglasses asked loudly. I don't know why it can cure diseases. You'll have to ask the medical professionals, Feng Zhao replied with a smile. Feng Zhao wasn't the type to bicker with these youngsters over their attitude. During the period of destruction, no one had dared speak to Feng Zhao this way. However, troubled times had their own rules, and prosperous times had their own ways of living. Feng Zhao naturally wasn't going to use the standards of the period of destruction to judge them. To Tan and the others, these youngsters looked like spoiled brats. But Feng Zhao had observed them for a short while. Although they spoke casually and had a bit of a mischievous sense of humor, they didn't have any real ill intentions. What were you guys talking about? I thought I heard you mention a great white shark? Feng Zhao asked. Yeah, we were just talking about whether we could encounter a great white shark here. A baby-faced boy with a straw in his mouth adjusted his sun hat. I heard someone found one, but not in this part of the ocean. It's just a rumor. Some people say it's fake news. They say that great white sharks are already extinct. Other than those that are artificially bred, they can't be found in other parts of the ocean. A younger boy waved his fishing rod and retorted, It's true. Someone took a photo. Many species that were deemed extinct in recent years have been photographed. Anyway, I don't want to encounter a great white shark. It's the king of the ocean. Bullshit. Have you watched too many movies? A great white shark is so small. How old is it in terms of body size? I can kill one with a single punch. Stop bragging, Feng Zhao. Hey Feng Zhao, I hear you're good at history. Do you think great white sharks were the best in the old era? Feng Zhao had been smiling as he watched the group discuss. When he heard the question, he replied, I don't know who was the best. Let me tell you a story. It's a story I read when I was researching old era history. On the other side, Tan was still worried. He rushed the people in the plaza to complete the paperwork and rushed over. He found that the youngsters who had been arguing were all staring at Feng Zhao in a daze. They had no idea what Feng Zhao was talking about. The little boy who had been fishing didn't even notice that his rod had fallen into the water. Really? A waiter muttered. Hearing the waiter's muttering, Tan Min asked, "What were they talking about?" "Telling a story." "What story?" "The one about two killer whales encountering a great white shark. They chased it, flipped it over, and took a few bites. They didn't think it tasted good, so they tossed it around for fun." Tan Min. What about now? Now we're talking about a killer whale that was having fun outside and encountered a great white shark. The other party was too big and too strong, so it couldn't beat it. So it summoned the other killer whales nearby and surrounded the great white shark. Tan Min. Move over. I'll listen in for a bit. While Feng Zhao was telling the story to the group of youngsters, many people were looking for Feng Zhao online. Usually, when it came to the entertainment industry, it was always about someone having an affair or someone collapsing their public persona. It was boring. This was the film festival, and the celebrities there were showing off the scenery and the red carpet. It was not much different from previous years. Only a few well-known entertainment reporters released something interesting. However, after 2 days of watching, a portion of the netizens felt that there was nothing new and started looking for more. Where's Feng Zhao? Feng Zhao also went to corral. Where is he? Have the entertainment reporters gone to bed? This year's entertainment reporters are bad. None of the ones who wanted to see it. In a hotel on Corral Island, Wang Tai scanned the comments online. He ignored the few that mentioned Feng Zhao and pretended he hadn't seen them. His communications device rang. Wang Tai answered. "Old Wang, you're so mean. You've been snatching too much news lately, haven't you?" The person on the other end of the line was furious. They had dug up a few pieces of news, but Wang Tai was always one step ahead. This way, the news others had painstakingly dug up wasn't worth much. In the eyes of outsiders, they were just following the trend and picking up Wang Tai's leftovers. It was extremely sullen. "I know you're the paparazzi king in Yenzhou, but can't you give more to old friends like us?" The person on the other end asked Wang Tai. As Wang Tai categorized the information he had gathered today, he replied, "I released it. I already said that I won't be following Feng Zhao anymore. He is a popular figure now. If you can dig up any secret news about him, it will be enough for you guys to make a fortune. Feng Zhao is too hard to follow, and he's not even on the main island. I can't do anything about that. I've already given you guys a chance." Wang Tai was in a bad mood at the mention of Feng Zhao. "Hee. Don't fucking hee with me. I hate that word. Hee. Spit it out. Hee. Wang Tai wanted to hit someone. "Old Wang, just do us a favor. After all, we're old classmates. Just leak some news to us. We want big news. Don't mess with the small shrimps. Or you can tell me where Feng Zhao is now. I just asked the people we sent to that small island. They didn't see Feng Zhao today. I don't know where he went. This guy is too good at hiding." Chapter 366. Yanbei Retirement Facility. Great-grandfather Feng hadn't been going out much these days. He often stayed at home and browsed the internet, keeping tabs on the Corral Film Festival. When Feng Zhao had left for the Corral Archipelago, great-grandfather Feng had sent him a message. "Take more photos of the scenery there. I heard the Corral Archipelago has nice scenery." Feng Zhao had really only taken photos of the scenery. There hadn't even been a single person there. Great-grandfather Feng fumed and blew at his beard. "Don't youngsters like to take selfies? Didn't those celebrities post photos on the internet all have a set of different angles? Why is this kid so different from others? Who does he take after?" As he spoke, he glanced at great-grandmother Feng and continued to sigh. There wasn't anyone in the photo. Who was he going to show a photo of the scenery? If he really wanted to see the scenery, couldn't he just search it online? After sulking, great-grandfather Feng sent Feng Zhao another message. "Little Zhao, when you take photos, include yourself in the picture. Take more pictures of the scenery with other people." Great-grandfather Feng finally received a photo he was satisfied with. "Hey, my little Zhao looks good in photos. He's so energetic. If only he could smile more. Oh, he even went fishing. The fish looks delicious. Great-grandmother Fong put on her glasses and leaned over to take a look. I thought the film festival was all about walking the red carpet. I didn't expect you could go fishing. Look at this place. Is it a fishing ground built on the sea? A few of the photos Fong Zhao had sent were panoramic shots that captured the surroundings clearly. And this one? I took it while diving. No wonder it's a coral island. It's so beautiful. Great-grandfather Fong raised his hand and made a mark on the photo. He had to choose a few carefully and share them with everyone in the group later. After sharing the photos, Great-grandfather Fong started counting the days on his fingers. The award ceremony isn't here yet. Why do I feel like time is passing so slowly? Great-grandfather Fong was nervous. How could he not be nervous? I wonder if little Zhao will win this time. Although many people online said Fong Zhao had a high chance of winning, there was no guarantee. They had no way of knowing the final outcome. These kinds of film and television art awards like to play this kind of trick. Everything will only be revealed at the end. How good would it be if they were all like the Galaxy Awards, where everything would be decided in advance? In the end, all they had to do was go on stage and present the award. Great-grandfather Fong's heart was on tenterhooks every day he didn't see the results. Our little Zhao has been nominated for both the Best Newcomer Award and Best Supporting Actor Award. From what the netizens are saying, he should be able to win one, right? Which one is more important, the Newcomer Award or the Supporting Actor Award? Great-grandfather Fong posted a question online and received all sorts of replies. Some said that the Newcomer Award was just an encouragement award and that it was dispensable. It was not as important as the Supporting Actor Award. Some said that the Supporting Actor Award was just a foil, a model award, and that it did not have much presence. He didn't even know which one was right. At the end of the day, it was nothing compared to the Best Actor Award. At this thought, Great-grandfather Fong felt even more depressed. This was his mentality. Seeing that his child thought everything was good, he hoped to get the best affirmation. But things didn't develop according to one's wishes. Great-grandmother Fong didn't understand this. She hadn't paid attention to this aspect in the past. If not for Fong Zhao, she wouldn't have paid any attention to the entertainment industry, let alone any awards. Actually, compared to the Galaxy Supernova Award, these don't have much weight, Great-grandmother Fong said. That's true. Great-grandfather Fong felt much better. We have already won the Galaxy Supernova Award. If we win the Newcomer Award or the Supporting Actor Award, it will be great. If we don't, there's no need to fuss. As they were speaking, a delivery arrived. In an instant, Great-grandfather Fong tossed the Newcomer Award and Supporting Actor Award to the back of his mind. He stood up from his chair, tossed his walking stick aside, and ran for the door in his slippers. It's little Zhao's mail. Great-grandfather Fong didn't rush to open the boxes. He first took a photo, then opened the boxes, then took a photo and sent it to the retirement home group. My little Zhao sent me something again. Photo. Sigh, young people are like this. How many times have I told him not to waste money? If he sends so much, how long will it take for the two of us to eat? And the fish he fished on Coral Island. Really, other people walked the red carpet at the film festival, but he's hiding in the corner fishing. Look at him as a star. Coral Island. Fong Zhao had already returned to the hotel from the small island. The items he had bought had already been mailed out. He had also brought back some snacks from the small island for Namfeng and the others. After putting away the new feed, Fong Zhao took a look at the rabbit in the water tank. The little fella perked up as soon as it returned and finished all the feed he had thrown in 10 minutes ago. Fong Zhao knocked on the side of the water tank and watched as the little fella's 2 ears floated up and waved in the water. He left a message for Ren Hong to purchase another batch of feed. In the next few days, Fong Zhao occasionally went out to watch a few movies. The rest of the time, he stayed in his hotel room to write his thesis and compose. Namfeng, Zuoyu, and Yin Biao each grabbed a bag of snacks and sat on the balcony. Boss doesn't plan on going out today. What are we going to do next? Yin Biao felt like he hadn't been able to put the skills he had learned to good use in the training course to good use. He was paid a high salary, Yet he had to sit around and eat barbecued fish. I'll go out in a bit to gather information. You guys do as you please. Boss said you can do whatever you want. Nanfeng tossed a piece of barbecued fish into his mouth. There was nothing else he could do but compromise with a boss like Fang Zhao. The original plan had been for Fang Zhao to go to various events and red carpets to brush his face. But now it seemed like that wouldn't be necessary. Was the red carpet more important than the thesis? If Nanfeng dared ask Fang Zhao that question, he could forget about being Fang Zhao's assistant. Zuoyu, what are we going to do today? Yan Biao asked. Kill the paparazzi. Zuoyu pointed outside. Those two entertainment reporters who have been following us for the past few days. When we go out for a smoke, we'll drag them to the bathroom for a chat. Yan Biao nodded. Sure. He was itching to do something. Inside his room, Fang Zhao sent the thesis he had just finished to Professor Carter, the instructor in charge of the advanced course. Drew Carter, the composition and arrangement instructor of the 12 Tones advanced course, and Emo Lang's eldest disciple, held a lot of prestige at Huangzhou Institute of Art. Before receiving Fang Zhao's thesis, Professor Carter was chatting with an old friend about the Chorale Film Festival. You're not coming here this year? The person on the other end of the video call asked. Nope. It's none of our business anyway. I haven't worked with any films other than Founding Era over the past year. Professor Carter was sitting in his office at Huangzhou Institute of Art, flipping through the list of nominees. Although he had also worked on the soundtrack for Founding Era, he hadn't been nominated. He knew that with Emo Lang around, people like him would have to step aside. Judging from the nominees this year, the others were just there to accompany them. So is Venerable Emo going to the awards ceremony this year? The song he composed for the finale of Founding Era has a 99% chance of winning. The person on the other end asked. Venerable Emo hasn't participated in this sort of film festival awards ceremony in years. Other than the Galaxy Awards, he doesn't go to any other events. His body can't keep up, and he doesn't like to join in on the fun. As Emo Lang's eldest disciple, Carter understood Emo Lang very well. I thought he valued Founding Era. He followed the cast and crew to Planet Y for so long. Maybe he would take it seriously. Carter thought about it. That makes sense. But I haven't received any news. If Venerable Emo wants to attend the awards ceremony, he will surely confirm his schedule in advance. It's normal that he doesn't go. He's won so many awards that his hands are sore. He doesn't care anymore. As they were talking, Carter received Fang Zhao's thesis. This surprised Carter. He didn't bother replying to his old friend on the other end of the call, and quickly scanned the first 2 pages of the thesis. What's up? The person on the other end asked when he saw Carter's eyebrows rising. I've read the first 2 pages of the thesis Fang Zhao just sent. Although I haven't finished reading it, I can tell that it's a high-quality thesis. According to our advanced course's standards, I think it should get an A+ grade. That high? Didn't that kid go to the film festival? He has the time to study his thesis. It's not just that. He just sent a message saying that he has another thesis he's working on. At this point, Carter's smile deepened. As a teacher, he naturally hoped that his students could focus more on music. When he applied for leave, I was worried that he would get carried away by the glitz of the entertainment industry. I never expected that he would be able to calm down and study his thesis. There aren't many youngsters who can do this. No wonder he got into Huang Art's 12 Tones at such a young age. Fang Zhao is indeed a pretty good student. I'll be waiting to see his other thesis after the film festival, Carter said in satisfaction. 5 days later, before the film festival award ceremony, Carter received a document from Fang Zhao, a thesis and a scanned copy of a musical score. Carter spent most of the day going through the thesis and manuscript. Then he took a deep breath and sent Emo Lang a message. Teacher, you really don't plan on accepting another disciple? Chapter 367. There was a difference between apprentice-type students and regular students. In Carter's lifetime, he had taught countless students. But up until now, apart from the masters and doctorates under him, There had only been about 10 people who could be considered apprentices. The academic circle was very particular about inheritance. Carter hadn't accepted any apprentices in a few years. Huang Art had no shortage of geniuses. Every year, when he saw the students in the advanced course, his heart itched. However, the older he got, the more cautious he became when he accepted apprentices. He was worried that the reputation he had accumulated over the years would be destroyed in a day. This had happened a few times in the circle. When you accepted apprentices when you were young, you looked at talent. When you got older, not only did you look at talent, but you also looked at character. You were also more conservative. Your apprentice's talent could not be top-notch, but his character had to be good. When dealing with regular students, all he had to do was give lectures and dispel their doubts, and impart professional knowledge and skills. Anything more than that was a tight squeeze. Resources were limited. The connections he had accumulated, the concepts and insights he had honed over time would all be passed on to his apprentices. If his apprentices did well, the halo on his head would shine even brighter. Now Carter had his eye on Feng Zhao. Actually, back when Feng Zhao had been admitted to the advanced course, Carter had been tempted. It wasn't just him. The other old professors had the same thought, but everyone had the same idea. They wanted to observe Feng Zhao a little more and test his temperament. Too many young geniuses had perished under the impact of time and worldly affairs. Furthermore, Feng Zhao was involved in the business circle. This made the old professors even more cautious. Now that he had received Feng Zhao's thesis and work, Carter felt that he couldn't wait any longer. If he waited any longer, he was afraid that he would miss this opportunity, and someone else would beat him to it. He had already asked around. Feng Zhao had not entered the tutelage of any old professor. That old man Xuejing was good academically, but his style was different from Feng Zhao's. Even if Xuejing wanted to teach him, he couldn't. He had even needed Feng Zhao's help when writing new voices in symphonic composition. So now Carter's only concern was Mo Lang. Mo Lang was his teacher. His status and talent were top-notch. Carter could also see that the old master had long had such intentions. It was just that back then, he had announced that he would no longer accept apprentices. Now that he was conflicted, he had to persuade Mo Lang. It had to be said that Carter really understood Mo Lang. When Mo Lang received Carter's call, he had mixed feelings. In the beginning, Mo Lang had the mentality of "I can't accept disciples, so don't even think about accepting them." Whoever had such thoughts, he would beat them down. Now, after being persuaded by Carter, Mo Lang changed his mind. It would be a pity to let go of such a good seedling. He couldn't accept this. Accepting one's own disciple was better than being pulled over by someone else. No matter what, Carter was still his disciple. He couldn't accept another disciple because of what he said in the past, but Carter could. Let Carter collect it for her, and then personally teach her. This method is also fine. Outflanking tactics. Mo Lang kept a straight face as he talked to Carter, but deep down, he was secretly pleased with himself. As expected, the older I get, the smarter I get. On the other end of the video call, Carter listened respectfully, but he had already guessed Mo Lang's thoughts. "I'll tell him later. Also, Carter, didn't you take on a new project? Bring him along when the time comes. Also, Feng Zhao is still young. Get those students under you to help out this junior," Mo Lang exhorted. When Mo Lang referred to Carter's students, he was referring to Carter's own disciples. "Yes, don't worry. Let Feng Zhao know about this first. I'll give him a call later, and this matter will be settled. As for my students, I'll definitely get them to help out." Isn't Feng Zhao attending the Chorale Film Festival now? It's his first time attending such an event, and I'm worried that his management company isn't up to par. It just so happens that a few of my students and friends are attending as well. I'll get them to take care of him. Mo Lang was satisfied and didn't continue chatting with Carter. He called Feng Zhao right after the call ended. Feng Zhao was a little surprised when he received Mo Lang's call. The old master wasn't attending the film festival. Why would he contact him now? "Teacher Mo, what's up?" Because Mo Lang also taught advanced studies, they usually addressed Mo Lang as Teacher Mo. Mo Lang was also addressed as Teacher Mo. But this time, Fang Zhao addressed him as teacher especially pleasantly. Fang Zhao, have you thought of a teacher to further your studies? Although Mo Lang's tone was still harsh, it was at least 5 degrees calmer than when he spoke to Carter. Fang Zhao's eyebrows twitched. I've thought about it, but I haven't decided on a teacher yet. Let me recommend you one. Mo Lang paused. I'm getting on in years, and my energy is limited. I've already announced that I won't be accepting any more disciples. But my first disciple, Drucas Carter, is your composition and arrangement teacher. He's passable. If you run into any problems in the future, you can ask me if he can't explain properly. Every year during the film festival, in order to maintain the normal lives of the island's residents, a special road was opened for the island's residents. The number of license plates allowed on the road was strictly controlled, and each family might only have one license plate. Other roads were also classified. Air travel was prohibited. Only ambulances, police cars, fire trucks, and other special vehicles were allowed to fly. For other private cars, unless there was an emergency, the driver would be fined a year's salary for flying. Fortunately, Namfeng had done his homework in advance. Even if he hadn't experienced it, he could find out through various channels. He was well prepared, and the events that Fang Zhao would be attending had already been arranged. Over at Huangart, Carter was in a good mood after taking in a new disciple. He remembered that Mo Lang had asked him to find someone to take care of Fang Zhao. So he sent a message to a few of his students. They had mentioned a few days ago that they would be attending a film festival event. He wanted them to take care of his junior. But before he could send the message, Carter received a call from one of his students. Teacher, we just arrived at the Corral Airport. There's an important movie premiere in an hour. We can't get a car right now. Do you know anyone here who can make arrangements? In the corner of a cafe at the Corral Airport, a slightly plump middle-aged man wiped the sweat off his forehead and looked out the French windows at the road not far away. Fans of a certain Jinzhou award-winning actor and a certain Jizhou award-winning actor's fans got into a fight. It's caused a traffic jam up ahead. Even police cars have been dispatched. I heard that it'll be another 5 minutes before traffic starts. This is crazy. It seems like the fans' original plans were disrupted by the incident just now. Some of them have changed routes. We can't compete with them for taxis. And we can't rent a car either. The hotel is also out of cars. I can't get anyone to help. 5 minutes wasn't a long time, but it was precisely because of these 5 minutes that it was even more difficult to get a car. When they left the airport, there were still 5 empty cars nearby, but in the blink of an eye, they were gone. They had to queue up, and when they looked at the number of people in line, they felt dizzy. They didn't understand the entertainment industry, so naturally, they weren't familiar with these 2 award-winning actors. At most, they had heard of their names and found their photos familiar. They had never imagined that there would be a day when these 2's fans would stop them here. Carter's good mood was completely ruined. Didn't you go to the Corral Film Festival? Don't you know that you have to arrive early? The middle-aged man wiped the sweat from his forehead again. In the past, when I came early, I didn't encounter such a situation, so I didn't feel it deeply. This time, because of a last-minute meeting, it was postponed for 2 days. I didn't expect such a big change in just 2 days. He regretted it now. If he had known earlier, he would have postponed the meeting. It wasn't a particularly important meeting anyway. The main problem was that he hadn't taken the situation in Corral seriously and had underestimated the fanaticism of the film fans. Carter took a deep breath and said in an annoyed tone, "Wait. Yes. Sorry to trouble you." At the Corral Island Airport Cafe, the middle-aged man finished his call and took a tissue from one of his students to wipe the sweat off his face. Part of it was from anxiety, and the other was from nervousness from being scolded over the phone by Carter. But in front of his students, he could only try his best to maintain the composure of a teacher. But when he turned his head to look at the people outside, he started sweating again. He finally understood why those celebrities had arrived early. It wasn't just for the news, but also to avoid the rush hour. Otherwise, they would be blocked by fans at the airport at this time. At Huangart, as soon as Carter received the student's call for help, he immediately contacted people. However, the closer the awards ceremony got, the busier Coral Island got. The people he contacted were all too busy. They promised Carter that they would find someone to think of a solution, but exactly how long they would have to wait was unknown. As the minutes ticked by, Carter flipped through his contact list. His gaze paused when it landed on Fang Zhao's name. He hesitated for a moment, but still made the call. Chapter 368. Carter briefed Fang Zhao on the situation and asked if Fang Zhao could borrow a car from them. Nanfeng had helped Fang Zhao rent a car in advance, but the hotel they were staying at wasn't close to the airport. Picking up Fang Zhao from the venue would probably take too long. Secondly, the car had already been lent to Silver Wing for emergency use and couldn't be transferred over. Fang Zhao got Nanfeng to ask if anyone had a car. He also sent a message to a few people. He didn't know if it was convenient for Tan Min to pick up the phone, so he sent a message first. Tan Min was coming out of a theater. He wanted to copy Fang Zhao and take notes, but he slapped his forehead after writing 2 words. I almost got tricked by Fang Zhao. Why would I need to write by hand when there's an intelligent recording device? The main thing was that his writing speed couldn't keep up with his brain. Tan Min thought it was too slow, so his scripts were all typed on the computer. Tan Min had just finished a movie and was typing in his thoughts. When he saw Fang Zhao's message, he immediately called back. I just finished a movie. Tan Min didn't say much. He waited for Fang Zhao to continue. He knew that Fang Zhao had to have something to discuss with him. A senior is attending an event today. The roads are jammed, and they can't get away. Do you know anyone near the airport? Can you take them to the venue? Fang Zhao gave a brief rundown and indicated that he was willing to fork out more money. Based on the current market, it was less than half an hour's drive from the airport to the venue, but it was expensive to hire a local. If it was urgent, the price would be extra. Hearing what Fang Zhao said, Tan Min hurriedly said, "Okay, I'll help you ask if there are any friends who are going the same way. Local cars are all booked in advance. Many are booked for the whole day. It all depends on luck." "Thanks." "Hey, you're welcome. That's enough. Let me ask first." Less than 2 minutes later, Tan Min replied while Fang Zhao was asking others. "How many people are there with your senior?" 7 people and 3 24-inch luggage boxes. "That can be done. I have a friend who just dropped someone off at the airport and is planning to pick them up from the airport. I can bring them along." "What's your senior's name?" "George Quintero." "The fare?" "Don't worry about the fare. Hurry up and inform your senior brother. It would be best if he could send a photo. That friend of mine will be arriving soon. His license plate is." Tan Min told Fang Zhao the license plate. "Thanks." Fang Zhao didn't argue. After ending the call, he gave Carter a reply. Carter immediately contacted the airport. George Quintero, who was sweating all over from waiting in the coffee shop, immediately picked up the call when he heard his communicator ring. "Teacher, send me a few photos. Go to the roadside and wait. Someone will come and pick you up immediately." Carter was too lazy to listen to so much nonsense. Good. Thank you, teacher. You're the best. Don't thank me. This time, it was your junior brother who helped. Today, I've lost all my face because of you." After giving Professor Carter the license plate number and sending the photo to Fang Zhao, Professor Carter decided to listen to some tunes to calm his nerves. Before putting on the headphones, Carter felt as if he had forgotten something. He thought for a few seconds, but couldn't remember. "Forget it. It's not a big deal if I can't remember." He stopped thinking and listened to the tunes. On the other side, George Quintero, who had been scolded by Professor Carter over the phone, wiped the sweat off his face and thought to himself, "Didn't I just beg you to help arrange a car for me? Is there a need to be so irritable? Could it be that Teacher Carter's composing has encountered a bottleneck? Or perhaps he was criticized by Venerable Mo again. That's not right, junior brother." George Quintero finally grasped the crux of the matter. He rubbed his chubby face and tried his best to recall. Who is junior brother? Professor Carter was already over 100 years old and had mentored too many PhD and master's students. After graduation, they had all developed in various continents. George Quintero wasn't familiar with most of them. As for those who weren't PhD and master's students, he had an impression of all of them. Little junior brother. He was definitely the last one to be accepted into the sect. That was why he was called Little Junior Brother. But he really couldn't remember who was the last one to be accepted into the sect. After flipping through his contact list, he still couldn't find anyone. But now wasn't the time to think about this. He called out to his students and hurriedly carried their luggage to the roadside. Each of them widened their eyes as they searched for the car plate number given by Carter. 2 minutes later, a local sports car drove over. One side checked the photos and identification documents, while the other side checked the car plate number. There was no mistake. Hurry up and get in the car. The driver waved his hand. The surrounding people waiting by the roadside looked at this line of people enviously. It was really too difficult to get a car at this time. Hey, sir, the route you are taking is different from the GPS, a student said as he looked at the GPS in his hands and the road outside. Didn't you see my car plate number? The route we can take with this car plate number is different from others. The driver had a proud look on his face. He loved to see the astonished and envious looks of foreign tourists. Oh, is this the legendary green pass that only has one plate per household? A quick-witted student complimented. Of course. There won't be any traffic on this road, and the number of cars is strictly limited. The road is also smooth, and the speed will be slightly higher. It will only take us 15 minutes to reach the venue. The people in the car finally relaxed. That's great. We will make it. A student looked at the signboards advertising the film and television series and sighed. This year should be a bumper harvest for Founding Era. I see that many of the signboards are for Founding Era. Speaking of this, the driver's interest was piqued. That's true. Just look at the nominations. The others are just there to keep them company. Our people on Corral Island understand this the best. Founding Era is really good. Nothing else can compare. Little brother driver, how many episodes of Founding Era have you watched? I've watched all of them. I like the Shizou, Muzhou and Yinzhou chapters the most. The Shizou chapter focuses on the fights, the Muzhou chapter on the dogs, and the Yinzhou chapter on Feng Zhao. You're a fan of Feng Zhao? Of course. Some time ago, the news was all over the news about him. He's the one who composed a song that directly conquered the Hull virus. After watching the news, I finished the Yinzhou chapter. It's not that I'm praising you, but this junior of yours is really impressive. The others in the car were dumbfounded. Junior? The driver was puzzled by their reactions. That's right. Didn't you guys get him to help with the car this time? George Quintero's hand, which was in the middle of tidying up his appearance, froze. My junior is Feng Zhao. Teacher, your junior is Feng Zhao. What? It's actually Feng Zhao. The driver in front was amused when he heard their conversation. Are the few of you playing a duet? How could my junior be Feng Zhao? When did this happen? George Quintero's face was full of doubt. The driver was even more amused. You're asking me about your own junior? This bunch of people were really silly. In any case, this time, Feng Zhao looked for my friend, and my friend in turn asked me for help. Right now there's a shortage of cars here. Everything is booked a few days in advance. Luckily it's on the way. Otherwise, I really wouldn't have the time to send you guys to the venue. I just happened to be picking up a few people there, the driver said. So busy? A young student asked. Yeah, of course. There's only a few days off throughout the year. There's no way to go to work. There are people everywhere, crazy movie fans everywhere. However, every year during these few days, we have to act as guest drivers. When the driver mentioned this, the smile on his face widened. He didn't have the slightest bit of grumbling. It can be considered a subsidy for us. Then the people here must have earned quite a lot by acting as guest drivers these few days, right? Another young student asked curiously. Sigh, not much. Just making a living. The driver didn't say much, but the corners of his mouth kept curling up. His voice carried a hint of happiness. I'm not bragging, but we have a family here. His family has a licensed big car, and they're really hardworking. 3 people in the family take turns to drive. In 10 days, do you know how much they earned? How much? A few young students in the car were curious. The driver extended 5 fingers. Over $1 million. The others in the car. This number was rather scary, but why did he have to extend 5 fingers? The attention of a few young students was diverted, but George Quintero rubbed his plump face absent-mindedly to wake himself up. He didn't even notice that his neatly arranged hairstyle was messed up. Junior is Feng Zhao? When did teacher accept a new disciple? That was Feng Zhao, who had deep connections with the commercial and artistic circles, as well as the chaotic entertainment circles. How could a teacher who believed himself to be a clean stream and focused on academics allow Feng Zhao to enter his school? In his bewilderment, he asked a few of his fellow students, but none of them knew about this. George Quintero still hadn't resolved this question, even when he alighted from the venue. He thought to himself, teacher is really too much. He didn't say that Junior is Feng Zhao, and didn't give me Junior's contact details. When he arrived at his destination, he thanked the driver. Before he could even ask for the fare, all he saw was the back of the car. He reported the situation to Carter, and asked about Feng Zhao in passing. Carter didn't take long to reply. His tone was still not good. Remember, it was your junior who helped out this time. You guys were there too. If Feng Zhao encounters any difficulties, you guys have to take care of him, got it? When is it our turn to take care of him? Isn't this sort of place his home ground? From George Quintero's point of view, this was the home ground of those in the entertainment circles, including those teams that specialized in composing music for the film and television industry. As for academics like him, they really felt like they couldn't advance an inch here. However, even if it was an away game, George Quintero felt that he couldn't lose face for his school. Since he had been invited as a business partner, he still had to put on airs. Raising his head and puffing out his chest, George Quintero put on a straight face and led his students into the venue. He simply didn't know that his students were bragging in their WeChat moments. Arrived at the venue. We made it. My teacher's junior helped to get the car. And it even has a green car plate. There are pictures as proof. Also, I only found out today that my teacher's junior is Feng Zhao. Yes, it is that famous genius Feng Zhao. Chapter 369. After Feng Zhao settled his affairs, he started preparing for the awards ceremony. The Chorale Film Festival was held separately from the Film Awards ceremony. The TV series was held the day before the Film Awards. Hotels near the film festival venue, other than those reserved for celebrities, were all booked up. Guests could only stay further away from the venue. Many people rented local residential and office buildings. Boss, this is the itinerary. Namfeng handed Feng Zhao a schedule. He had previously shown Feng Zhao his schedule, but this one was more detailed and could be changed according to the venue. Namfeng knew that he was inexperienced, so he asked many experienced seniors and combined their suggestions to come up with this plan. Also, Silver Wing asked if you needed any help with the itinerary, Namfeng said. Feng Zhao looked at Namfeng's schedule and waved it off. That's good enough. I don't need them to send anyone over. Namfeng couldn't help but smile, but he quickly retracted it. He felt that he had to act mature in front of his boss. He couldn't just laugh foolishly at a compliment. After calming himself down, Namfeng continued. Boss, you received 2 nominations. You will be attending the red carpet. But we don't know who your red carpet partner will be. We will only find out when you get to the venue. This is arranged by the organizers. We can only cooperate. That's how chorale has always been. If you have your own ideas, you can let them know in advance. But the organizers might not listen. Usually, only those at the top of the entertainment circle can make a move. In the film and entertainment industry, Feng Zhao didn't have enough experience or status to make the organizers move. Fang Zhao understood this, so he didn't have any other ideas. He just followed the organizers' arrangements. Then, if it's a scheming actress, wouldn't it create a scandal? Zuoyu's interest was piqued, and his mind went through hundreds of twists and turns. He hadn't found any scandals involving Fang Zhao. Fang Zhao didn't lack news. He didn't need scandals to steal attention. What about the ubiquitous paparazzi? Many entertainment reporters had their eyes on Fang Zhao, hoping to find some big news. But the problem was that they couldn't find him. The people sent to secretly take photos were taught a lesson by Fang Zhao's bodyguards. Fang Zhao had also held back. On the surface, it was impossible to see where the injuries were. The hospital's examination also did not reach the level of public outrage. It was not worth it to use this incident to stir up news. As a result, there was even less news about Fang Zhao during the film festival. Most of the news was unimportant, and the photos that were taken were not of Fang Zhao's face, and the angles were poor. As for scandals, there was no way to mention them. There wasn't a single entertainment reporter who caught any news about them online. Namfeng sighed. Based on my understanding of chorale, they usually arrange for two people of similar status to walk together on the red carpet. Plus, there are limited spots for red carpet events of this level. They must either be nominees or top figures in the industry. Zuoyu, the situation you mentioned could happen, but the chances are extremely low. Deep down, Namfeng didn't think that the situations Zuoyu had mentioned would happen. Actors who had such opportunities basically had their own career plans. They wouldn't think of such a low-level method like stirring up a scandal. If they weren't careful, they could ruin their bright futures. However, setting aside his professional duties, Namfeng actually wanted to see Fang Zhao get embroiled in a scandal with someone else. Thoughts were just thoughts. As an all-rounder assistant, he knew what he should and shouldn't do. Namfeng felt that he should prepare for a rainy day and take precautions. Thus, he had contacted his buddies to prevent any unfavorable situations for Fang Zhao from appearing online. I have to let boss know my value. I have to let boss know that I can't be without him. Namfeng considered many scenarios and came up with countermeasures one by one. He rubbed his palms together and waited for the situation to develop. All right, now all I have to do is send boss to the venue. The Golden Coral Film Gala was also known as the Golden TV Series Gala. Thanks to Founding Era, the number of people coming to the Golden TV Series Gala had greatly increased. On the day of the gala, the island was bustling with activity. Many movie fans had rushed over before daybreak to fight for a spot. People from the surrounding islands had also rushed over early in the morning. Fang Zhao followed Namfeng's itinerary step by step. This time, the styling of his costume took longer and was even more meticulous. Namfeng stood by the side, not letting a single detail slip by. The sense of accomplishment made Namfeng want to immediately take a photo and post it on his moments to show off. But due to professional rules, he could only endure. Boss, once we are ready, we will take a car to the side hall of the venue and wait for follow-up arrangements. We will set off after lunch. Also, boss, you can eat more for lunch. Otherwise, you will be hungry. There are also stylists and makeup artists at the venue. If you want to change your outfit or have a messy hairstyle, you can find them there. If you can't find them, contact me and I will send someone over. When you arrive at the venue, you must control your appetite. Don't eat or drink too much. Drink less water. Namfeng kept telling Fang Zhao about things to take note of. Zuoyu and Yin Biao gritted their teeth. Too troublesome. Fang Zhao knew he couldn't eat much at night, so he really ate a lot for lunch. Watching bowl after bowl of rice being emptied, Namfeng was dumbfounded. Boss, don't eat too much. What if he needed to go to the toilet at a crucial moment? Namfeng was anxious. Yin Biao whispered to Namfeng, "Our boss has a special trait. He can eat a lot. This is something the entire Founding Era cast and crew knows." When Fang Zhao finally got up from his chair, Namfeng rubbed his trembling little heart and took a few deep breaths. Calm down. You must calm down. After arranging for a car that had been booked, the few of them headed to the venue. The route from the hotel to the venue had been prearranged. Both sides of the road were covered with railings. Police officers could be seen patrolling. On the other side of the railings were enthusiastic movie fans from all over the world. The windows were one way. The people in the car could see outside, but the people outside couldn't see who was sitting in the car. Even so, every time a car drove out of the hotel, it would cause a commotion among the movie fans. Even though the interior of the car was soundproof, Yen Biao and Zuyu shuddered at the sight of the crazed faces and shrieking faces outside. No wonder everyone on the island is on vacation. How are they going to work under these circumstances? This was Yen Biao's first time seeing such a scene. It was all people. He hadn't known that this place could hold so many people. I reckon the security forces on the surrounding islands have been transferred here. Otherwise, it would be difficult to maintain order on the main island with the original police force, Zuyu said. It's not just that. Every year around this time, the other districts in Huangzhou will also send some people over to help out the districts that are closer to the Coral archipelago. Otherwise, traffic will be paralyzed, the driver said. Are there so many movie fans? I didn't feel this way when I participated in other events. Yen Biao felt the pressure of being a bodyguard. Even though he was confident, he felt weak after seeing this scene. Seeing the clothes they were wearing and the placards they were holding, Yen Biao suddenly felt relieved. Luckily, these people weren't Fang Zhao's fans. Otherwise, he and Zuyu would have been trampled on by these people. These are movie fans from all over the world. You guys are underestimating the craziness of fans. Namfeng explained to Zuyu and Yen Biao the whirlpool of fans that a film festival of this caliber could gather. Actually, this was his first time experiencing this kind of atmosphere up close. In the past, he had only watched from afar, but now he was in the middle of it. Back when Fang Zhao had been filming Founding Era on Planet Y, Zuyu and Yen Biao had seen many global superstars and A-list actors from every continent. They hadn't thought much of it back then. But here, it was a completely different scene. This was the home field of film and television superstars. A raise of the hand or a smile could trigger a tidal wave of screams. Fang Zhao really didn't have much of an advantage. After arriving at the side hall, Namfeng pointed to the door in front of them. Boss, this is as far as we can take you. We can't go in there. You should know the rest of the steps. Someone from the organizers will tell you what to do next. Or you can get a senior from Silver Wing to guide you. Someone will also talk to you about your red carpet partner. If there's anything you can't resolve, contact me. I'll help you think of something. This was Fang Zhao's first time attending such an important event, and he still had to walk the red carpet. Namfeng felt like a parent sending their child to school for the first time. He was worried and wanted nothing more than to tie Fang Zhao to him. Yen Biao glanced at the calm Fang Zhao, who didn't seem nervous at all. Then he looked at Namfeng, who was sweating profusely and trembling. He suddenly remembered a famous saying from the old era. The eunuch is more anxious than the emperor is. Is Lil Nanzi too nervous? Yen Biao couldn't help but say, Lil Nanzi, no Namfeng, I think our boss is smarter than you. He can handle it. Namfeng wanted to say, what do you know? But he saw Fang Zhao raise his hand and made a gesture. He could only swallow his words. They really couldn't stay here for long. There were still many cars coming. They had to make way. Boss, you go in first. We'll be over there. Call us if you need anything. Namfeng had booked a place near the venue in advance. They were waiting there. On the towering buildings in the surroundings, large screens were playing the live broadcast. Because the event hadn't started yet, they could only see the sea of people outside the venue. They couldn't see the end of the crowd. Many people could be seen on the rooftops of the surrounding buildings. It was said that the rooftops of the nearby buildings had already been booked. Fang Zhao walked into the side hall that had been arranged for them. The moment he entered, he bumped into a certain director, who had just returned from filming on Planet Y. This director had rented Fang Zhao's set while filming on Planet Y. Fang Zhao had met him twice during the filming of Founding Era. Fang Zhao, you're here. Congratulations on receiving 2 nominations. Given your performance in Founding Era, you will surely win one. The director gave a thumbs up. When I came back, Commander Hui mentioned you. He told me to tell you that when you have the time, you can visit Planet Y. Chapter 370. At this kind of awards ceremony, the stars were dazzling. Global superstars came one after another, and Feng Zhao didn't stand out at all. Even Zero, who always went against the heavens and the earth, couldn't do much here. During the film festival, Zero could walk the red carpet at other events, but he didn't qualify for the red carpet at the Golden TV series gala. He had no productions, no qualifications, but there were fans from all over the world and top-notch film and television workers. As for Zero, this wasn't Liuzhou, where every step was difficult. When there was no big news, the entertainment reporters might have paid attention to him, but at this star-studded moment, they completely ignored Zero. It wasn't just Zero. Wu Tianhao, Barbara, and the others had the same experience. They felt like they had been bullied, and either left or stayed behind. At this star-studded moment, even though everyone seemed to have forgotten about Feng Zhao, he was still a nominee for Best Newcomer and Best Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. As long as the awards were mentioned, the name Feng Zhao would still be mentioned. But from the beginning of the film festival until now, other than the time when Feng Zhao had landed at the airport 2 days ago, the number of others could be counted on one hand. At the start, there had been a lot of people clamoring to see Feng Zhao's news, but gradually, as news of other film stars came out, people had no time to pay attention to Feng Zhao. Now that Feng Zhao had suddenly appeared, some media outlets that worked with the organizers came over to interview him. After dealing with 2 short interviews, Feng Zhao made an excuse to leave, avoiding a few reporters. Those who were able to enter the hall had worked with the organizers for many years. They wouldn't keep bothering any celebrities. After Feng Zhao left, they turned their attention to other people. After all, there were many celebrities tonight. There were plenty of people to interview. As Feng Zhao went to the tea machine to pour some tea, he heard a few directors talking in hushed tones. "Hey, Oldly, I heard you accepted a job a while back. Apparently the investors are the Renault from Liuzhou and the Wu from Tongzhou. Those 2 are really generous. How is it? Did it go well? I have a script that I plan to get them to invest in." "Don't mention it. I'm about to get an internal injury. Those 2 are generous, but they always want to act. Their acting style." "What? I think they did pretty well in Founding Era." "You also know that it's Founding Era. What kind of cast is Founding Era?" Even the walk-on actors were either from professional schools or had rich experience in the industry, so the atmosphere was different. Even if they did not act well and were influenced by others around them, they would still be able to perform exceedingly well. However, once they left Founding Era, their true colors would be revealed. Of those 2 young masters, one relied on his strength to act awkwardly, while the other relied on his strength to steal the show. The cast of Founding Era was under a lot of pressure, and Zero's words and actions were restricted. On the other hand, there was no pressure in the production team he had invested in. He was free to express himself, and his thoughts were unorganized. Of course, his acting could not compare to his performance in Founding Era. In addition, Zero also discovered that the Great Garlic technique had failed. Either he used too much force, or he did not express his emotions properly. While acting, Zero felt good about himself, but the others felt that it was extremely awkward and painful to watch. As for Wu Tianhao, he stole too much of the show. He was pretentious and pretentious. From time to time, he would even think of himself as clever and add scenes for himself. The director and scriptwriter were too cowardly to provoke them. They could only hold back their anger and continue shooting, turning a serious drama into a comedy. As the 2 of them were talking, they saw Zero walk past them from the corner of their eyes and quickly shut up. The director who had just spoken even turned sideways, afraid of being discovered by Zero. However, Zero seemed to be in a fit of anger, as if someone had robbed him of a few $100 million. He simply did not pay attention to the people around him. Only now did Zero realize that all he had received was an invitation. He could only enter the venue to attend the awards ceremony, but he could forget about the red carpet events before the ceremony. He did not qualify. He could not produce any work, other than Founding Era, which played a small role. All his other films were an eyesore, and far from the standards of the Corral Film Festival. Under his agent's persuasion, Zero swallowed his anger and stayed. No wonder he looked so bad. Other people avoided him. I can't afford to offend him, but can't I avoid him? Fang Zhao also walked away, cup in hand. Along the way, he ran into Si Lu, who had been on the Yenzhou Chapters cast. Although Si Lu was an artist from Silver Wing's competitor, Neon Culture, and the two companies did not see eye to eye, Si Lu had a good impression of Fang Zhao. Back when he had played the role of the lone swordsman Qi Guan in Founding Era, it had been Fang Zhao who had given him pointers. Now that they were here, they could chat amiably when they ran into each other. Besides Si Lu, Fang Zhao also ran into Qiao Tingjing, a professional villain. As a senior in showbiz, Qiao Tingjing imparted some of his experience to Fang Zhao. But the wife-flaunting demon was still the wife-flaunting demon. After exchanging only a few words with Fang Zhao, he started talking about his wife Windsor. Qiao Tingjing had not been nominated, but Windsor had been nominated for Best Original Song, so she had qualified for the red carpet. Qiao Tingjing was still a little emotional, because he had not qualified for the red carpet. He would not be able to walk the red carpet with his wife. He was sad and a little jealous. Speaking of red carpet partners, Fang Zhao, do you know who your partner is? Qiao Tingjing asked. Fang Zhao shook his head. I haven't heard anything yet. It's still early. You'll know when it starts. Don't be nervous. Don't drink too much water. It will affect your form. Before leaving, Qiao Tingjing warned Fang Zhao. He was worried that Fang Zhao would drink too much water because he was nervous and wouldn't be able to show his best form on the red carpet. After Qiao Tingjing left, a man strolled over to Fang Zhao with a wine glass in hand. Fang Zhao had never interacted with this person before. He only remembered seeing him from afar at the music center, while filming on Planet Y. Fang Zhao had a slight impression of him, but he did not know his name. The other party gestured at Fang Zhao with his chin. You seem to be in good spirits today. Are you ready to walk the red carpet? I'm ready, Fang Zhao replied. Being able to receive 2 nominations here is indeed not easy. But the newcomer gave Fang Zhao a meaningful look and took a step closer to Fang Zhao. Lowering his voice, he said, Did you know that you could have received 3 nominations? Unfortunately, you were too young. The judges voted you out in the end. The other party took a sip of wine, chuckled and left. Fang Zhao did not pursue the matter. His gaze did not linger on the other party for long. He turned around and saw He Lizi walking over. He Lizi was an A-list Yenzhou film star and one of Silver Wing Media's top stars. He had received a few Golden Coral Award nominations in the past. 5 years ago, he had won the Best Actor award for a highly popular series at the Corral Golden Film Awards ceremony. This time, He Lizi was not among the nominees for Best Actor. There were so many chapters in Founding Era, but only 5 people had received nominations. When He Lizi had received the role of Wu Yan, He Lizi had been prepared. Compared to his other competitors, the Wu Yan he was portraying was played by 3 people of different ages. In a situation where their abilities were similar, He Lizi was naturally at a disadvantage. Although it was a pity that he had not received a nomination, it was still acceptable. Now He Lizi and Fang Zhao did not have a competitive relationship. Fang Zhao's focus was on music and posed no threat to He Lizi. Furthermore, they both belonged to Silver Wing Media, so the board of directors valued Fang Zhao. This time, Duan Qianji had specially asked He Lizi to take care of Fang Zhao and impart some experience. What did that person say to you? I'm guessing it wasn't anything good. He Lizi had hurried over, because he had noticed that the other party seemed to be waiting for a good show. Nothing big, Fang Zhao replied. That's good. This is your first time participating in such an important event. Your first time acting, and you have already received 2 nominations. Many people are jealous. Many people want to see you make a fool of yourself. That person was just one of them. No matter what they say, don't let them lead you away. You have to stay calm. If you have the time to worry about them, you might as well memorize your acceptance speech. You have a good chance of winning either Best Newcomer or Best Supporting Actor in a drama series. I understand. All right. If there is anything you don't understand or can't resolve, you can contact me. I saw an old friend, so I'll head over first. Lizzie also had his own social circle. After exchanging a few words with Feng Zhao, he left in a hurry. There were more and more people in the side hall. Relaxing music played one after another, but it did not make people relax. Instead, as the minutes ticked by, the tension intensified. Feng Zhao even bumped into Ji Polin and the others. The gown's slightly glossy fabric and exquisite tailoring made Ji Polin appear much more mature than usual. Coupled with the results of his company's training, his every movement was confident and elegant, which added to his looks. But here there was no shortage of good-looking celebrities. Nowadays, plastic surgery technology was getting more advanced. Every year, there were countless people hyping up their perfect looks. But how many people had the qualifications to walk the red carpet at an awards ceremony of this caliber? Not to mention, Ji Polin was still far from perfect looks. No matter how confident he had been in Yinzhou, here, his looks were still lacking. As soon as he entered, he shrank into a corner, not daring to wander around. Ji Polin was accompanied by a few other young artists from the company. They were all highly regarded by the company. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone through so much trouble to secure invitations to the Golden TV series gala. When they saw Feng Zhao, they all came over to greet him. Big Bro Zhao. Big Bro Zhao is so cool today. These words weren't just compliments. Feng Zhao's simple black and white formal attire didn't seem stiff due to the exquisite design. It was steady yet had a youthful personality. The flowing tailoring made his figure look even taller. Everything from the soles of his shoes to his hair was meticulously groomed. Nanfeng had put in a lot of thought and effort for Feng Zhao's outfit. Even though the details weren't as rich as those of other male celebrities, Feng Zhao wouldn't go unnoticed just by standing there. Is this what they call an aura? Ji Polin and the others thought to themselves. Are they all here? Feng Zhao scanned the room. They were all young Silver Wing artists. The company's other senior artists didn't have time to entertain them. Even if they wanted to get to know these big shots, they wouldn't get the chance. All they could do was huddle together and hole up here. They could be as domineering as they wanted in their own continent. But when it came to global superstars and investors, even the sharpest claws had to be sheathed. A young artist forced a smile. They are all big names. Even first-rate stars from other continents can only be obedient here. He wanted to smile more naturally, but ever since he'd entered the hall, his legs had stiffened. He couldn't even walk freely. Now that he saw Feng Zhao, his nervousness wasn't as intense. After all, they were from the same company, so he felt more at ease. It was like running into someone from the same hometown in another city. Even if they didn't know each other and hadn't exchanged a single word, they still felt more at ease. Big Bro Zhao, I haven't seen you in the past few days. We've been sightseeing all over the place and even watched 2 movies, another young artist said. Sightseeing didn't necessarily mean sightseeing. It also meant taking pictures and looking for opportunities to show their faces. Making a small splash in Yinzhou was enough to complete the mission. As for whether other continents would see news about them, that was a more difficult task. Big Bro Zhao is in seclusion writing a thesis, Ji Polin answered. He knew Feng Zhao had been writing a thesis after watching the movie. The others understood what Ji Polin meant. Oh right. He's still in advanced studies. He has other assignments. I haven't finished my assignment yet. A young artist standing in the corner said with a frown. Ji Polin chuckled when he saw Feng Zhao look over. His agent wants him to expose a scandal during the film festival, regardless of gender or race. His agent is a demon. That's right. Agents are demons. Another person chimed in. What about you, Big Bro Zhao? Someone asked. I don't have an agent, Feng Zhao replied. Jealous. Really, really jealous. They weren't envious that Feng Zhao didn't have an agent. They were envious that Fang Zhao didn't need to rely on an agent to become popular. He didn't need an agency to fight for his resources. He could settle them himself. For example, Silver Wing might not have been able to snag that important role in Founding Era. Fang Zhao had to fight for it himself. Besides, Fang Zhao had too many connections. The film industry wasn't his main focus, so there was nothing anyone could do to be envious of him. Oh, big bro Zhao, the red carpet is about to start. Who's your partner? Ji Polin asked curiously. I don't know. Before Fang Zhao could finish his sentence, his personal terminal received a notification from the organizers of the Golden TV series gala. Anna, I just received a notification. My red carpet partner is Anna, Fang Zhao said. Ji Polin and the others gasped in unison. The one who won the Golden Coral Award for Best Actress 2 years ago? She's also nominated for Best Supporting Actress this year. A superstar from Huangzhou. Isn't her husband Lan Jing the famous singing superstar in Huangzhou? That's Lan Jing. He writes and sings by himself. He's been in the top 3 of Huangzhou's best-selling charts for a long time. I'm a fan. I went to his global concert tour 2 years ago. Fang Zhao also had an impression of Lan Jing. Lan Jing was Mo Lang's last disciple. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.